Hello, hello. Oh, is it? How are we all doing? Got a big re-stream match for you all today. Division 5A, Chimp versus Light. And joining me on comms, we have the one and only Emo Soda.
Hello? Hello, chat. Hello? How's it going?
So I've put their records on the screen for you all to see. Got Chimp at 1 and 3 so far, Light at 1 and 2. They have mostly played the same people as well, so there's some interesting kind of head-to-head shenanigans going on here. I think Chimp has a better record against Yo-Yo. Chimp picked up his win against Yo-Yo, who Light lost to. But Light went 1 and 1 versus X-High, who Chimp went 0 and 2 to. So there's definitely a lot on the line on this one.
Is Chimp in the right division?
They are off. Wow! You know what? So obviously Chimp has access to like all of the League org and admin channels and everything. And as soon as it started, the first thing Chimp said was like, do you ever get the feeling you're overseeded?
Yeah, I kind of feel similarly about my group. Mostly because I have the same record right now, but...
Ooh, starting out with strength.
Okay. Yeah, strength start is pretty good. Nothing really to write home about yet. I don't know if I would go and check the sword chest here, though. It's very...
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think with Epona's start, like, it doesn't really do much for your child route. So if you're going to do sword chest, I think you do it before Midos, but I don't know. Different people have different ideas on the start.
Yeah, it depends on how you want to rupee route. Like, if you just want to stay here and go Deku, it's fine. It's just a little bit slower than I would like. Like, I end up doing it a lot, too. And it's not even that bad. But you have to get money from the chests, and there just haven't really been that much money from the chests. So, yeah, I would have probably just left to go to Chains, probably. It's just the place I want to be going to. The most effective, money routing that you have early game, so...
I think, yeah, like, if you get a warp song, I really like doing Midos into sword chest and then warping away with it. But without that, Kakiri sword chest is kind of this awkward one where you want to go there for the rupees, but then you want to go there before Midos, but then what if you don't find the rupees in Midos, or you find, like, a Deku shield, and you're like, oh, I didn't need to go up there to begin with, and...
Yep.
Yeah, does look like they're both farming here, though.
Oh, okay, so Chimp's getting the hint here. I don't know if he's intending to go to Lost Woods.
I'm in charge of keeping up with the hints on this, so feel free to yell at me in chat if I miss stuff. That's an interesting start.
Kakuri Forest for Baronade. And you get a strength. Already, my mind would be like, okay, so something's locked by storms. I'm not trusting that strength. That's the problem I have with path hints, at least in League and in like S5, anything like that. I think because it can be really unexpected in terms of what you get, in terms of like, oh yeah, Fire Temple Path Fire, but then you get like Frog or something in there. It's like, okay, well, cool. It kind of just breaks up the routing a little bit too much for me, but
I think it like works quite nicely with the way the like League logic works. That's the real big appeal of it here, I think, is like
true.
Having those extra little quirks in the logic. It can really push you in interesting directions. And actually, the path hints were one of the biggest reasons we kept Kiri Sword dead hand on.
I think that's a good idea for sure. Yeah, people are already talking about hint systems in more complicated formats like random settings, so just kind of rehauling that. It's probably about time after 4 seasons, after just using like kind of hodgepodge hints that kind of work sometimes, but then sometimes you have useless. Like we still have useless hints. I don't know why, but either way, so I think they work a little bit better in those kinds of environments. But it's still with what you're saying with the league logic. I think it works for that because it can a lot of the times just tell you exactly how to play the seed if you just have all the 5 path hints. Like I've even experimented with not even reading pedestal. Like just don't read it. Just follow your path hints, and it's actually better in a lot of scenarios because you're not like.
In League in particular, I could see that working really well. Actually, now that you mention it.
Yeah.
I want to know my forest med though. Oh,
you just go to the first dungeon. It's fine. It'll always be forest med.
So early hovers in the Deku Tree here. Probably an amazing song to get as well in these kinds of settings, like being not quite as good as it is in S5, but just an unbelievable, like it makes your child routing so much cleaner. Like it's one of the things that really interests me with the kind of league routing in particular is that your early game, you're very much focused around this kind of okay, you got 3 big places that you want to go to as child, and the question is getting to those 3 places and not stranding yourself in them. So you want to do Deku Tree, you want to pick up the Saria song, check, and you want to go through Lon Lon, and you end up at the silo. And so, like, how do you go to all 3 of those without having to just backtrack for ages out of them? I did miss one of the SFM hints there. I got the Song of Time in Ice, and I got
King
the Song
Zora's
Last
dead.
Dead. Oh, King Zora, okay.
Yeah, fuck that guy. So, yeah, it's more of like a question of when do you go there, and that always changes depending on how the seed plays out, on what's like the best to go to or what have you. So, I kind of like that there's no CSMC honestly in these settings. I think it's pretty refreshing. It's kind of like doing rando crack is a CSMC. Just like once you get a taste of it, you just don't want to go back. But it's kind of nice not having it on here.
I think the big thing for us was we want different things. We don't just want to do the same thing in every format. And so right now, the main tournament has CSMC, Closed Deku. The logic is always the big league kind of specialty, I guess, but not a lot out of this early Deku so far.
It's the hovers. I mean, that's pretty big, but it's gonna be a bit before he uses them. So Chimp actually used the routing through Saria's and Lost Woods, getting a bunch of just free money that you get anyway, and using that for the Deku because he didn't get anything out of the rupees, which I think is fine. It's just, again, a question of do you have to go back there as child with maybe a slingshot or Saria's or all these
really
other like
strands the target in the woods. But the one thing I really like with that is that you also get to save scum the bridge scrub while you're at it.
Yep, and that's also a sometimes hint, so it's not like you'll never know what that is. Sometimes you will. So it's kind of like a mitigated risk in a way. See a lot of chatter in the chat about Sun Song.
Wonder why? Who would ever?
So I recently played both the weekly seeds back to back. I think that was yesterday. I don't really know what days are anymore, but and the first one was an AD for Suns, and I was like, wow, I'm sure glad I just decided to stick it out with this. He's like, the second seed better not be AD, dude. I was like waiting for the cameras to come out and be like, you're on Suns haters, emo. It's like, oh, you got me. No. Yeah, we don't have to talk about a song that's, it's not even worth talking about.
I mean,
I'm gonna get the hovers here in Deku.
If we're talking about useless songs, and bad dungeons at the same time, right? Like bad plays, all in one. We did see the hint that Song of Time is in Ice Cavern already. Just putting it out there.
Oh, Song of Time's great though, because if you have any MQ on, you can get so many more places if MQ's on with Song of Time.
I'm gonna hazard a guess. There's no MQ in this seed. Just an idea. Maybe.
Okay. Have we seen anybody pause?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's still up in the air. Yeah. No. Even then, I still think Song of Time's better. It gets rid of so many more annoying things that I think barely ever come up, but
really good logically and really bad to go out of your way to get.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Like if I just happen to get Song of Time, I'm like, oh, cool, makes GCG like playable. You know, it does a lot of good things at the same time. That I can't really say the same thing for Suns.
While we were very distracted by arguing about Sun Song and Song of Time, I did miss what reward Deku gave.
Gave a sapphire.
Oh, cool, stone. Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter what it is. You just go do Deku.
Deku and DC is like, all right, whatever. Yep. You just do it anyway.
Like 90% of seeds, you'll always do those two first, regardless of whatever. So. Former rival in chat. Hey, it wouldn't be a former rival if A, he still played, and B, didn't lose so much. Still looking for new rivals if anyone's interested.
So they will be following each other's steps a little bit here. No explosives in Deku in any way, shape, or form. Like, not even choose. So Light won't get anything extra out of this Lost Woods trip that Chimp didn't already get.
Yeah, that's a good point. Usually you'd want bombs or something out of like an early Deku play. That's like the ideal scenario. Because then it just opens up so much in terms of your routing and your choices that you can make. And you really see a divergence at that point. And the divergence is where you can, in a 1v1 match especially, you don't know where that is when you're playing it as a runner, but you want to open up the possibility for it because that's how you get ahead.
Right, I think the big merit to going Deku before doing the SFM check in this is that you might get either explosives to the grottos or a scale to go into river. And that's a really good way to do what we were saying earlier. You want to go to Deku Tree, the SFM song, and Lon Lon with as little backtracking as possible. Well, you can go through River to get to Lon Lon very easily from SFM, and that really cuts down on that backtracking and gets you a few extra hints, a few extra checks on the way through.
I think Scale's better than Bomb Bag early game.
Oh, for sure, 100%. But also way less likely if you factor in choose as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, none of that today, so they will be converging after Deku and presumably just walking out through fields to Lon Lon.
Gotta check in with Bae at Lon Lon Ranch. See how she's doing. Make sure her dad's not running off drunk, sleeping at the castle. God knows what.
Milk bar.
Yeah, get your milk. Get your Lon Lon milk. A lot of things to do at Lon Lon Ranch, though. See how the cows are doing, maybe slap it. You know. Your alternative is to go to Valley, but why not go to Lon Lon before Valley? You could go to Castle. You could go to a few different places. Looks like Light is gonna get the scrub near the bridge. I think Chimp didn't get this one, is that right?
I think he did. He safe scummed it.
He did. Okay. Okay.
So
he did this like initially.
Check.
Yeah.
DC is a stone as well. DC, Fire, Deku. There are 3 stones there.
So it's gonna be Nocturne on OOT.
Oh, absolutely. That screams hard AD. Yep, there we are. Right on cue. Okay, I missed some other hints there. So OOTZL, perfectly timed.
Yeah,
I
Spirit
think I saw
Temple
that
is
40 was
foolish.
dead. Yeah, Spirit Foolish. And
Whack.
Central Pillar, okay.
Super AD. You can't even go to Spirit for checks. You have to go to everywhere else. Oh. ZL on OT. So what was the third stone? Fire?
Fire, yeah. So Fire DC Deku.
Huh.
Like that, if anything is going to be ZL on AD, it's those three, right? Like you 100% will never need ZL for those, like unless it locks your hammer and that's it. Like,
Oh, hammer's gonna be huge to find here, especially if it's not the behind the bomb bag. You want to know if it's vice versa really quickly, like, you know, within 20 minutes of the seed starting or something, I would say. So they're probably feeling the sweat a little bit here because you have coming up here a lot of areas that get a lot better with bomb bag, especially. So it gets scary as a runner because you're like, I want to go Lon Lon and then Valley. And it's like, well, what if you bomb bag's just in CAC, right? What if that's just the case and it just changes your entire route and there's a, let's say, a progression item somewhere bomb locked that you wouldn't have gotten if you didn't go to early CAC to get that bomb bag. So it gets complicated really fast in terms of like what your options are and how good they are and how, you know, what you lose like that. So it's, I don't know.
I'm gonna bring up a point going back to the conversation from chat earlier, I guess. So
about Suns.
At this point, no. So at this point, I think your priority is Lon Lon, right? And then after that, I would say you probably want to go towards CAC. Like it's got more songs, more checks. You can go up and do DC with strength. In these kinds of settings where it's a little more early game is a little more open, you don't really want to be going to do things like Valley Lake when you've still got these massive dense areas available.
Yep.
The problem is, how are you getting Richard in this seed?
It's an argument to go to Valley, so you can save Scum time of the day to Prelude, get Richard, and then go Adult. But
yeah,
then
Lon
you have
Lon
to go
Valley.
like River.
Walking out of Lon Lon as well, like that doesn't feel good either. In this scenario, like playing Prelude out of the silo is so effective here.
But then what do you do? It's like you're gonna lose time walking from there to outside of Market unless you go Adult. So it kind of.
I think going Adult there is the play. I think you go Lon Lon silo, Prelude, and then leave. But then, yeah, you're leaving Richard behind for a long, long time at this point, which I guess depends on what you find. It's not too worrisome if you get actual items, and it's worth noting, Light did get a wallet from this, so they already have access to buying Choose if they really need
to. Zarya's song? It's really not great.
Yeah, that's especially gonna feel bad given they both went kind of out of their way to go up through Lost Woods as early as.
Yeah. And also getting the wallet here in Lon Lon, it feels okay, especially with an Epona start. You can, at the very least, go get Bomb Choose pretty early, even if you don't get Bomb Bag. Okay, nothing in the silo. Looks like Lightswoord is playing Prelude. Not surprised. Just probably the safest option here.
And so the difference in the time here is pretty much just those extra couple of skulls that Chimp has picked up so far.
Did a little bit more money farming as well. And,
get that shield over in Cat.
Child shooting didn't go great for Chimp, so he lost a few seconds there as well.
It's always so bizarre hearing the term child shooting. I'm like,
oh.
I get it. No, I get it, but
yeah, yep, yeah. It's lots of weird terms in OTR.
I feel like out of context rando is just a thing in and of itself. I remember someone pointing out once how the first time they ever saw me playing rando, this is like someone I knew in real life, and the first thing they ever heard from me playing rando on stream was something about needing to collect child skulls. They're like, I'm sorry? Can you say that one again? No, it's fine, it's fine.
I think the worst one we had on the podcast was reverse child's naked wasteland or something like that. You know,
Oh.
when you have nothing as child and you reverse wasteland across the pit. Like, what do you call that?
Yeah.
There's like there's no good name for that. It is what it is. But Forest Temple Path Morphe here at the castle hints is definitely interesting. It just tells me a hook is probably locked by hook or something.
Yeah, that would be the I'd probably be thinking the same there.
Getting the second hint here for Chimp. Looks like he's gonna route in Richard the dog.
This is a Richard play, isn't it?
I don't think so, yeah.
On the one hand, great for this check. On the other hand, not great for Kakariko.
Ooh. Goron City is foolish here, though. That's gonna maybe put a little bit of extra pep in his step.
Is it faster to out, or is it faster to get caught there?
Pretty sure it's faster to get caught. But not by much.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I've got to be honest, I can't say I've ever really checked, because...
Yeah,
I do not go for that hint!
No one checks for that. Yeah, I don't know the exact second count, but I would assume it's within like 5 seconds of each other. It just depends on your movement.
Heart piece, not what you're looking for after going out of the way for that one.
Man on roof, filling up the wallet. Very nice.
Definitely faster to Prelude there. I remember someone timing that one where it's like, if you leave the child shooting gallery, it's faster to play Prelude than it is to walk into Temple of Time.
Yeah. Oh, he's checking this hint here.
Oh, double checking that one? Missed it earlier, maybe?
Spirit Temple Foolish. Good one to check for. So far, nothing really in CAC either. I'm sensing an early water play out of Lightswoord here. We'll see what's in Graveyard. Because with the hovers, it does put those two checks into logic too. So I'd be more interested in chasing that. And it has probably the most number of hints right now in terms of density versus travel time. So
Yeah, heading up
pretty solid play.
Doesn't feel bad, and at the same time, it's... I feel like you'd want to at least check... it, like, dip into Dodongo's Cavern first. You can do almost all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And even the hovers there actually have some logical implications, so...
That's true. You could do like a save in DC and then go upriver? I don't know, it seems like sketchy.
Yeah, no, I think I'd just hit the switch at the top and then leave.
Yeah.
I guess that obviously depends as well on if they find explosives on the way.
Oof, early Deku Shield there.
Him grabbing Rupee. Curious about that one, like... I had enough for the Hylian Shield, so there's something on top of that here.
He's routing for you. I don't know exactly what. Just in case he finds a bow for archery and there's no money from any of the checks, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
It seems a bit specific.
We will see the cost of that Castle Hint Richard play here as well. Won't be able to check Angie yet.
Yep. It's the thing you kind of have to worry about right now if you're a Chimp here.
And also won't be able to buy the shield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not right now. Yeah, I hate Night Cac as adult. It's a lonely place. There's no girls, no shops. nowhere to go drinking. It's a terrible place. Daycack? You get everything's open, everyone's hanging out, people are dancing in the fucking streets. Like, yeah, Daycack's great. Yeah, no maidens. No maidens. You're maidenless at night here.
What do you get in Nightcack that you do in a day? One spider? A single spider, that's it?
Bugs. Oh, joy. Missing out on the bugs. Yeah, not even Dante's here at night. It's such a letdown. He's just dead.
Like that all the time, is that all?
Yeah,
Change with night or day?
it's true. Alright, looks like Light is heading towards DC. Makes sense. He's been making the most safe play, or the most safe option out of all his plays so far, I think.
Mm-hmm. Gaining little bits of time here and there, just on tiny decisions as well. The skull, like the extra skulls for Chimp, the extra couple of rupees here and there. Light gaining a bit of time on kind of, I guess, smaller things at this stage. The issue obviously being if skulls end up being required, then this extra time will pay off for Chimp.
Yeah.
We're not doing the Stone DC thing today, right? It's already AD. We're not doing this today. Like, even with the meme of, like, haha, Stone Dungeon bad, like, it's AD. It's hinted. We know.
Yeah, I'm always stoned in DC, so I don't get it either.
I can't believe every dungeon is a Stone Dungeon. So, Light going up here to Goron City early didn't pick up that Goron City Foolish hint. Not too costly right now. There's only one check you can do, and you probably want to do it no matter what. The bigger cost here will be if, assuming you know. I hate Link to Goron. I hate it.
Just straight up ignored Link.
The bigger cost here will be if Chimp goes into DC and finds explosives, the Crater Grotto could become pretty costly. Still won't feel too bad just because you know you're going to pick up Zelda's Lullaby pretty late, so you're going to want to go up that way for the fairies anyways. Still feels a little bad, and especially if that ends up being something like the hammer.
Be tempted to just go to Fire Temple at this point. I mean, you already have like Saris though. You could go to SFM, to Forest if you had a hook shot. So they're a little bit low on resources right now.
Okay, this is like a really weird thing. If you go to Fire here, I think you at least check. You're gonna pick up the song. I think you only go into Fire if you get Bolero.
Yeah, that's kind of what I would say as well. Or just don't. Oh.
Or maybe Minuet as well. So it's a weird one because like normally I'd be like, oh, you can get back there easily, so it's lower value now. But I think the thing is you don't want to dip into Fire because it takes ages to get back out if you're walking out. But if you're planning to go, if you could just like go in, do the first check, maybe do the next couple, and then play Bolero out again, I think it's worth it. Like grabbing some rupees for a tunic here as well.
Chimp does have that slight advantage, full wallet, but going straight into DC here, where Light's taking the more scenic route.
Like, I like this decision. I've got to say, I'm a big fan of this being a choice where. Do you go up through DMC and Goron City before looping back round to Dodongo's Cavern? Or do you go into Cavern first, hoping you'll find explosives, hammer, something along those lines? Great hint. Love it.
Cool.
I
Cool hint. Ew. Well, so far nothing in Crater here.
we are getting so many of the like location hints, and none of the paths.
Yeah, it's definitely puts a little bit more pressure on River as a player.
Like in terms of the always and
Go
sometimes.
get your information.
In terms of always and sometimes hints, we're missing 2. We're only missing 30 in France, and that's it. We have everything else. We have 2 paths total. Like,
Ooh, a bow.
ooh,
Crater wall. Big
okay,
development.
yeah. Better way for me to rephrase what I was just saying about the hints. We are missing as many path hints as we are other hints.
Totally, yeah.
Okay, we're missing 30 frogs, 2 and 1 foolish, and 3 paths, and that's it.
Dang. Lightsword going into fire here after getting the bow there.
Interesting.
Crater.
This is a long walk out.
I like this play. Yeah, it puts a lot of it's in logic already, unless it's hammer locked, and just knowing it's hammer locked is, I mean, I think he's just fearful maybe a little bit of any items that might be in here, like a bomb bag or a hammer situation, because then you get ZL immediately.
Mirror shield?
Or that happens. You get hammer
Okay.
locked and you get an item and you get out of there. Like, this is fine.
On the one hand, great. On the other hand, Spirit is foolish, and you know that you're gonna come to fire soon enough for the Zelda's Lullaby anyway. That shield is
everyone's
unmissable.
opening that chest. Yeah, everyone's opening that chest, so it doesn't really matter that happened.
And presumably long before you ever go to Spirit.
Yep. So I don't know where. I assume he just goes and continues into DC. Light sword here on top of DMT. Gets a couple more hints. And then still nothing in DC here yet.
Yeah. For us is useful, but won't do much otherwise.
See, kind of spitting on the players' faces here. It's just giving them like 8 Deku shields now that are all an adult one. It's like, why did you do Deku first? But,
also, Chimp unlikely to dip fire, I think, and we'll just like leave that mirror shield there until he's already bought one.
I don't think he's gonna go in there.
Whereas Light had already bought a shield and then finds the mirror shield on the way in just to really rub it in.
There is nothing yet in DC aside from Roar's Wind.
Yeah, so notably no explosives, so Light's decision to go up to Crater Alley won't backfire at all. You don't gain anything from doing DC first. Chimp? Heading back down.
I think Chimp's going river here.
Yeah, time of day as well. I guess waiting to buy a shield, check Anju. Where do you go from here?
Half a night cycle? I guess? Yeah, that's not even that bad. Okay.
It wasn't too long, but interesting leaving behind the I guess
still shorter than the climb out of fire.
Crater is 1 song and 1 check right now. Chimp knows that Goron City's dead.
Right.
And doesn't have a way through the grotto, so it's just the wall. Oh. Did Chimp save in DC?
Yeah, I think so.
That's okay. Alright, you know what? I like this. You know what? I'm a fan. That's a good way to make up for that early time of day. Goes up, gets the bow, gets Sunsong, and then what?
Just never talk to Anju. I would never want to delete my conversation with Anju. I don't like this route.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, can you hover across that when Light tried to? And it's like, oh, okay, you can't. I wasn't actually sure. Like, feel like I'd have seen people do it if you could, but oh,
Yeah.
yeah, good old Link the Goron being friendly to both of them.
Yeah, they're just advancing a little bit too soon. Because if you pull the flower, a lot of times you don't even have to move that much. So like here on Chip's side, you only had to go up, 5 paces or something.
The timing with the bomb flowers is so awkward. Feels like they take
Mhm.
forever to do anything. Light gaining little bits of time here just by being able to shoot some of these bomb flowers, but nothing too significant, and they will just be kind of converging their paths a little bit. Chimp also going to go buy a Goron Tunic. So the only big difference here, looking like, is going to be whether Chimp goes into do that fire dip or not. See where they both go from there.
If he decides to go to CAC, he's going to be behind Lightswoord here on time, I think. Also, depending on if he goes into fire, but even if he just wants to go back CAC, unless he goes there immediately from the bow grab, it's going to take longer for Chimp to get back to check adult shooting, which might be the next progression point, or Sun's Grave.
I do feel like that is your play, right? You want to check those two and then head towards River? Like, that's probably the direction you want to go in?
I'd say so as well. Yeah, Chimp also saving a little bit of time there, not having to money farm by the Goron Tunic, so he's a little bit farther ahead than he would be otherwise.
That was a really interesting peek from Chimp as well. So he went down, looked at the wall, saw it was the bow, and decided to climb up and get it. I get the impression from that his plan was to either go to the wall if it was relevant, or go to fire if it wasn't. And now, that mirror shield's probably just going to be left there for a while.
Yeah, but assume he goes out the top here, gets the hint because he hasn't gotten it yet, and goes to CAC because it'll be day by then. Even though he has suns, but well, we're just ignoring that he has suns right now because it's more interesting to look without it. Or he could play suns. Then all of his problems are solved. World hunger ends. The homeless crisis has been solved. Pandemic's over because we played Sun Song, guys. It's a great time to be alive.
Chimp! Chimp! that was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Stuck the landing.
Alright, well, Light does in fact then get to adult shooting first. One way or another. Oh, Chimp going back down towards fire, I guess? Lost Woods? Lost Woods.
To go from Kakuri to River, I guess? Open this up as well.
Yeah, you do this, you get the song, and then... this is the thing, right? If you get Nocturne here, you've just saved time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hook. That feels bad for Chimp. Because now Light is going to immediately just go up and do Forest. No questions asked.
There's a shield too.
And we already know that Forest is path to Morpher, so probably long shot, maybe irons.
Maybe something else.
Honestly, it could be hammer.
Yeah, it could be true. Zeno.
Okay,
Oof.
that
I mean, that's probably the one song that you want to see if you're Chimp, though. So it's not
yeah,
the end of the world.
that does at least make the not getting the hook shot feel a little better. Obviously,
Yeah.
still way better for Light, who gets to just go there, do forest, and then have Minuet for later for getting to river, ice, whatever.
Hmm.
Forest folk shall not leave these woods.
Just making sure.
Sorry, I love the Ocarina cutscene when like it's sped up
Yeah.
and you just see Link run straight through, like just ignore Saria, just sprints through.
Calling a pony here.
Interesting. What is this one? Because my thought was river, but you ride Epona to
Fortress?
river? I
Yeah.
guess you would.
Hmm.
Where is Light?
Light's going through the maze,
Interesting.
I guess. I
Fell
doesn't
at the
want to do the
start.
jump.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Doesn't,
Did the jump,
doesn't
fell
seem-
down.
Yeah, you just, I mean, it's a good concession to make, I think, a lot of the times, because you
Oh.
don't want to lose a lot more time than you could by
Right.
just trying to go for it again and again and again. So
Yeah.
at a certain
sure.
point, you just have to bite the bullet and say, okay, well, I know I can do it this way, and I'll lose more time otherwise. So it makes sense there.
I actually think that's the thing like a lot of runners kind of fall into is this idea of like, I know I can do this trick, so I have to do this trick. You like actually, funny enough, Light just did the like over the shoulder hook shot into forest like straight away. That's always the big one for it. The number of times I will watch people trying to do like over the shoulder hook shot aiming, and they'll be there like 7 or 8 shots later, missing the target over and over again.
Yeah. New slingshot there in open grotto river, so that's sphere 0.
Alright, yeah. Trail? We didn't get anything in Trail yet?
Nope, so it's Song of Storms or ZL locked. The fountain or the grotto. I guess Bigoron too. I don't think we've seen a hint for that have we?
Bigoron
As a
is
hint for
nothing.
that.
Is nothing.
Oh, nice wallet refill for Chimp though. Able to buy a shield and some more with that. Where is he going? I could try
Oh.
Path to River.
That was strength, right? No, it was hovers.
Yeah.
Strength was Kakiri Forest, wasn't it? Hmm. So your hovers lead you to Twin Rover somehow. I guess that could just be fire. That could just be needing hovers to beat fire to get Zelda's
Oh,
Lullaby
it's
for a
for
key
the
or something.
mirror shields inside fire, right?
No, you could get that with Hookshot, which you
Oh,
could
right,
get with the
right,
bow.
okay. Right, because it's a... Okay.
But like, if you need hovers to beat fire, then it could just be
Yeah.
that Zelda's Lullaby locks a key in spirit.
Early fire BK or something. Or fire, I mean. Yeah. I guess we'll see. Kind of weird hints to get.
I've never seen anybody shoot down that big Deku Baba, and it actually makes so much sense now that I see it.
If you fail like the first jump slash there, I think it's faster. Nice magic though on the island there.
You don't need hovers for DMC, no. You need it only for the song. Which they would need for fire access, but then, yeah, they can go around together. And either way, you could... Well, no, they don't. 'Cause they could... Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can just jump the gap with it. Getting back the other way, you need hovers.
The chimp is going back to Lost Woods here as child.
Yeah. This feels aggressively thorough.
I just don't know where else he would go, right? You can go like lake, you can go valley still. It's 2 checks versus 1. Even then, it would be a big travel time, but I don't know where else he's gonna go anyway.
Yeah, I guess this is 2 checks and back is 2 checks. Valley Lake is 3, but very slow checks.
Chimp, it's not an eye exam. You can stand closer to the target.
Oh no. I think I know what we're about to see out of Chimp here. I don't like it.
The wall?
The desperation chickens.
Oh,
Also probably the wall, but I think it's gonna go down.
So he got the DMT hint, so he knows he can...
Oh, that's true, yeah. But then I feel like this path is gonna go down to... back to chickens.
Yeah.
Always turn too early for that.
Ooh, I got it.
No, not that one.
Chimp, no. No, don't go down that path. No. Oh, it's my least favorite check on these settings.
Is it actually? Oh, never mind. It's down P instead.
Oh, okay. Okay. On these settings, yeah. It's my least favorite.
It's always been the toilet. As bad as I think chickens is, the toilet's worse.
I always like to go for a nice swim, though. Get it cool down a little bit. Whereas, like, chasing animals, like, I don't know, I feel like I would, like, throw up my back or something, trying to chase all these chickens around. At least with the toilet, you get to, like, dip in some water and cool out for a minute. Checking 10 skulls, too, so it'll be 2 more checks here.
Yeah, 8 there, plus the 1 on the construction site and the 1 on the side of the house. Perfectly lines up. And the light hasn't found this. Unless the magic is the... Actually, I shouldn't make a note of that. The magic might be the path to Morpher.
Oh, and forest, right?
The eye drops will not be. They will not be past to Morpher.
Hey, they're watery, so... Eh?
Yeah, what it is that you take those eye drops and then you
It's the
opposite
pH of Morpha, so if you throw it at Morpha, it just neutralizes. Obviously. That's definitely path Morpha.
Big Iron Hint was found and is nothing. They have hint commands, by the way. There are locations and checks. I've split them. But if you exclamation mark hints, it tells you how this. And all the chatbot could just be not working. But sets up victory.
And
Right, well.
Sunsonggrave is also dead for Chimp. So really just nothing working out here for Chimp while Lightsword is going through Forest Temple. Yeah, no, it likes me. I don't know what's wrong with Thunder, but...
I just had to fix it, that was all. Thunder was impatient. Oh, it's time!
Oh my god, look at that ugly Tier 1 badge. I love it. That thing's ugly.
Wow!
Oh. At some point I gave you a 1-bit.
I don't know why they're star bits. I've played Mario Galaxy once. I was not a big fan.
Yeah, it's true. I think it's good. It's okay.
Fine, it was just incredibly easy, and I
Better
played
than
it.
Odyssey, like...
I haven't played Odyssey, to be fair. I still need to.
I played that for like 10 minutes and then I stopped. It just, I don't know. Didn't quite do it for me. It's not Sunshine. You're not like in the tropics having a good time. You're not in a spooky mansion. You're just kind of...
I've not played
that don't exist.
that
I don't know.
many Mario games,
right?
but I absolutely love Sunshine. Sunshine is incredible.
It's great. Great.
I need to play the Chuckster mod at some point.
Does look fun. Yeah, the living hat thing just kind of freaks me out a little bit. Like
You ever played Minish Cap?
Yeah, but it's not Mario though.
It's also still a living hat. I mean,
There's a...
There's no two ways about this. It is a living hat. Like, it definitely is.
Yeah, it's not weird though.
Look, I get it. The Cappy's, like, eyes are definitely creepy. But... This is some interesting chicken routing by Chimp.
Yeah, it's It's trying to make the coming from graveyard route better, but you can't really. It's always just gonna be a little bit awkward. So far, nothing else in forest, so yeah, it could definitely be this Magic Path Morpha.
What did I even do at this point? I mean, I guess Longshot Orions in Shadow would be the obvious one.
Right.
Wow.
Nothing on chickens.
Okay. You know what? I'm not gonna question doing chickens as a check, but don't throw the rage nut at chickens. I've seen too many people anger the chickens by throwing a nut into the pen. Like, you don't do that.
And that happened to me one time on Oko. I didn't die, but man, I definitely shit my pants. Had to get a new pair.
Fucking, like, I've definitely seen somebody do it before where they had like 6 of the chickens in the pen.
Oh no.
And then hit the wrong button, threw a nut, angered the chickens. And like all of them just flew out the pen again.
I feel like Chimp's tripling down here too, going Valley, but...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's what's happening here, isn't it? So this is looking like Light taking a very, very big, very early lead, and in a seed where you're assuming right now you kind of have to do everything, that's pretty devastating.
Yeah, I don't think I would have followed through with chickens. But Chimp's reasoning here obviously is, well, the only thing you have left in CAC is adult shooting. Takes a bit to get to because you didn't route it in earlier. So beyond that, are you really going to go to GTG Fortress with just bow and strength and hovers? I mean, it's not the worst thing ever. No hook, no song of time. You know, it's nice.
Yeah, like you can still kind of break into GTG if you hover off the chest, but
Right, and you can
you know
get
the
bomb
odds
shoes
of you.
there because there's no bomb bag like an hour into the seed. It seems kind of atrocious. So I
I
would have
honestly,
probably gone for that
yeah, I
versus
don't
like all the
dislike
child
that. Just
stuff.
buying the bomb shoes and just kind of saying whatever. I'll find my logic at some point. For now, I'm just gonna get the checks done.
Yeah, just
Make
assume
it
you
so that
have
you,
bomb bag.
yeah, make it so that you can just be a little more efficient as you go, and you can still do the checks that are in logic, but you're also doing check. Like if you're, you know, okay, I'm gonna go to Kakariko and do adult shooting.
Ooh.
You know, I even called that earlier. I even mentioned that it would be that one earlier.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so that's absolutely going to be path to Morpher. There's almost no way that more like water won't be locked by Zelda's Lullaby.
Okay.
Yeah, like if you buy the bomb shoes, like then you're gonna go over to Kakariko. You're like, okay, I can do adult shooting gallery, but I can also do the Redev Grotto while I'm there, and it's out of logic, but you don't care because it means that you're more efficient. You don't have to go back to Kakariko an extra time later. So I really like the idea of buying bomb shoes early here. Okay, Light did hit her. I looked away for like half a second. I thought Light was looking at the wrong.
Well, in addition, it's just a way more checks for about as much time as Chimp is taking, maybe even less. Just getting hints and kind of one-off checks, so he doesn't have to maybe go child again. But we already know it's AD and Jabu's a medallion, so you already know that you're going to have to come back child anyway in the future. Ooh,
Okay,
almost
I
got
thought.
it.
Yeah, that was Light going for the.
Sometimes you can just accidentally do that if you stand too close and just spam like a madman.
Alright, that was a really good fight still.
Yeah, not bad.
Like, still a
So
2
that
cycle, but a
hour.
2 cycle where the first one was by shooting it as it came out the painting. So, river hint. Oh, sorry, lake hints are a rough one here. Oh my. Jeez! Okay, it's probably not that for Morpher, but still. That is.
It all came from the hook.
Pretty absurd.
Yeah, especially with the Sarias too early game, so it's all in logic now. Versus, like, if you didn't have Sarias in this scenario, that definitely makes it way sketchier. Don't know what you'd do if you were light at that point. Probably just go do your prog and then just think about it the entire time. But yeah, I don't know. This is a tough situation for Chimp to be in. Obviously, he doesn't know it, but I mean, he probably knows it to some extent. Shield spamming here, just trying to find the next thing in logic. But he can come back from this. I mean, it's not the end of the world yet.
Right, on the one hand, like, it looks bad, especially in the kind of scene where you have to do everything, but right now, we don't know that you have to do everything. Like, there are a lot of options that are become available that are pretty miserable to do. You know, we don't know if they have to do deep fire, we don't know if they have to go to ice cavern when the song is hinted. Like, there's a lot that we don't know about yet, and if Chimp can get away with skipping some of those while Light does, then definitely still gain back this. But right now, the advantage is definitely on Light's side.
Yeah, like also getting a bigger on sword there in SFM. Just I don't know. Just Seed's really just trying to make sure Light wins here.
A little bit of extra, yeah. Icing on the cake. I was gonna say, it is interesting in Light's position here, not having the explosives. Going over, we were talking about buying the bomb shoes here. Light could, in theory, go and get Zelda's Lullaby now, if he goes over to buy bomb shoes.
Yeah. Or if he did it beforehand.
Frog's dead. We now have every sometimes, or every always and sometimes hint. We're still missing one path and one foolish. That's it.
Sounds about right. Did you see what was on the lake dive there?
I couldn't tell. I thought it looked like a wallet, but it might have been a Deku shield.
I thought it was Bomb Bag or Wallet. That's what it looked like to me. I didn't...
I thought I saw like a symbol in the middle of it, but I wasn't sure if that was the symbol on the front of the Deku shield or if that was the like gem in the middle of the wallet bag.
Yeah. Well, Light going for Goron City Maze here. This is the first time that we've seen it, I think.
Yeah, well, Chimp picked up the foolish hint earlier from Hyrule Castle.
Oh, yeah. It is true.
Wonder if the
Could
second
still be
copy
bomb
will just
shoes in
be
here.
in this maze.
Yeah, a 20-pack or something in the maze.
Yeah, you pick up bomb shoes and then you read the hint and it's Goron City Foolish. You're just like, alright then.
Cool. Oh, that gets upgraded at least.
Oh.
Fan and...
Interesting. Which song was in Crater? Oh, never mind. Crater had a bow.
That was Suns. Yeah, Crater
Suns
had bow.
didn't lead to anything, so it's, yeah, I guess it's definitely just that bow then. Alright, yeah.
Yeah. I guess it is, yeah.
An hour in and it's looking good for Light. It is looking terrifying in terms of the hints, just on the grounds of all dungeons that, admittedly, you can do the all dungeons pretty easily, but now you have to start doing your medallion, and they don't seem any closer to that. And they've kind of exhausted all of their hints at this point.
There's no, like, obvious bomb bag anywhere either.
Oh, there it is. Perfectly timed.
Ooh. Free Zora or Goron Tunic, but both of these players bought theirs already, so... Also falling in the hole again.
Alrighty, so Light gonna try and beat Fire here, I guess? Ooh. No explosives makes this feel very aggressive.
This feels pretty bad, yeah. I mean, it just only takes one key to be bomb locked, and then what?
Yeah, I guess the flip side is you don't want to farm 180 rupees.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not. I mean, you don't have to farm that, though. You can just go to Lost Woods, right? Go kill a kid, and then boom, you're good to go.
See, I was thinking you go over there and you just do the checks that you can. You do horseback archery, you do the rooftop chest, and all of that. And just see if you find the rupees on the way. And if not, then you can farm them in
Fortress.
In Fortress where you fight the guard, yeah, but you at least have a chance to find a few on the way through.
Depends on how many you would find, I guess. Because for me, Fortress farm's a little bit slow. So, like, each trip that you go in there is... it's, like, between 5 and 10 seconds, give or take. So, like, go in there, break the pot, get out of there. And then, depending on how many rupees that is, it, kind of defines on how many trips you have to do. So, if you only have 21 rupees... I wouldn't feel great about that. I wouldn't feel awful. I mean, it's like a minute or two, at least. But at the same time, you have Minuet, so I think it's still better to go play Minuet, go kill a Skull Kid, and then you have a full wallet.
Yeah.
In this situation, at least. And then you go just go Fortress from there. Because you have to farm 2 or whatever. It's still, it's gotta be better. I feel
And
like.
then if you do that, you buy the bomb juice before you do Fortress and
Yeah.
GTG checks. And then if you find more money, you can buy more bomb juice. Great. But you're not reliant on finding that money.
That's true too. Like I would be tempted as well to go in there with a full wallet, then farm, and then buy more bomb juice just so you have 20. Because that's probably all you need in this seed from this point on.
Yeah, it's like an interesting one in that situation because, like, you need. So you only need 2 for the Dongo's Cavern at that point. Because you've got Hammer, you've got Strength, you can do everything else freely there. For Fire, you're probably assuming you need 1. At least. I guess the issue is that you don't want to do Fire with no bomb bag, no bomb chip, because fighting Volvagia sucks.
You have Bo here in the situation. It's really not too bad with Bo, as long as you can stand in the right spot and you can aim well. That's the big thing. Otherwise, yeah, it'll take much longer, but it's even not that bad. I don't think. It can get sketchy though. Like if it was like quad damage or something, Oko, it's a different story. But normal damage with this many hearts, I feel like either of these players shouldn't have too many issues at least.
It's not that it's difficult, it's just that it's slow.
It sucks.
It's just slow.
Yeah.
If you can get the extra bomb juice, you want them. But then maybe if that's the case, if you buy 10, you could use 2 to beat Dodongo's Cavern, and use the rest to beat Fire, and then
you're still out of bombs.
You're heading that way again relatively soon.
Yeah.
I guess getting Zelda's Lullaby doesn't send you over Fortress area. Losing. But I don't want to refresh it because that ads.
I love ads though.
I was about to comment on Light hovering around the gap after pushing the block. Right, can't ground jump, no bombs. But it's amazing in Rando how many times you'll take having a bomb bag for granted. Right? There's so many things that you just don't tend to do without bomb. And going up through Fire is one of them.
For that specifically, that's kind of why I don't like to use bombs there anymore. I just like going for the setup jump.
That's so costly if you get it wrong, though.
Yeah, just don't miss it. Don't miss it.
Just don't miss forehead.
Yeah. See, if you just do it all the time, hey, you'll eventually get better at it, So, practice 101.
Alright, so still no bomb bag for Light, but a lot of keys still not locked out.
This is why I wouldn't want to go in here already, too, because even if you get to this point and you still don't have bomb bag, you don't really need it, I guess, but
you can't open the shortcut.
Yeah, you can't do that. What if your boss key was early on and the rest of Fire is dead? That's bad. What if you don't have scarecrows right now? What if it's on Pierre? And you can't open the shortcut either. So it can get really bad really fast. And you already know that the hammer chest is dead. So you have 2, 3 checks now that you can do. Well, 2 checks.
Yeah, hammer chest is at least a key, I guess, but
yeah,
this is definitely a little spooky at this point.
Yeah, it could be a lot of time that Chimp gets back in his favor too. If Fire goes any sort of better,
right?
Which I feel like it can if you have bomb bag. But
one of the examples of things mentioned earlier, you know, oh, they have to do everything in this seed, but they might not have to do literally everything. They might be able to skip, I don't know, deep fire. That was like the first example.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see what the Goron has. He just has a key. That'd be so awful. On the flip side, like if Bosky was there, you could also be skipping past progression items that just happen to be in your progression dungeon. So it can cut both ways as well.
Reminded me of one of the worst races I've ever done. I remember being so mad about it. As you can tell from the fact that I'm referencing a race that happened like 2+ years ago. But it was like you got access. I can't remember what item it was you needed. You got access to both forest and fire at like the same time. And I did fire first. Because like we had Bolera but not Minuet, so I did fire, then forest. Forest was Forest Medallion and it gave you Serenade. And Pierre had the long shot in that scene.
Yeah, that's sadness.
What was the hint like just right there? Was that our third position?
I didn't actually catch that because I was coughing, but chat, did you get it?
Yeah. I gotta be honest, it's a lot harder to cover things like this when I'm restreaming. Yeah. Because
that is true.
Okay, Spirit. Because right, normally if I'm doing commentary for like ZSR or something and I miss a hint, I'll just keep quiet about it for a few more seconds and I'll look over at the stream on a different monitor.
And like 50 people have already been like, well, just like, okay, yep, there it is.
Yeah, people spamming chat, but also I'll see it like 2 seconds later and just be like, oh, they did just read this, by the way, and like. It's fine. But, like, I can't do that on this one, because if I look over at the other monitor, it's just OBS showing me the same thing I'm already looking at.
Alright, I'll pay more attention. It's fine. It's fine.
The same, apparently. So we are seeing field grottos. This is a big hint play. That's not a big hint. That is a big item.
How many is it gonna be?
I'm ready for
leaving Epona?
Just leaving Epona behind?
Hello?
Just go.
What?
Look, those 5 chews are enough to beat fire and diesel.
I mean...
Again, slowest Volvagia fight imaginable.
Yeah.
But 2 for the Dongo's Cavern, 2 for fire, assuming you need to open both the one on the entrance and the shortcut. That's enough. You even got 1 spare to throw at Volv.
I'm just shocked they're leaving Epona there.
Okay, roll. Has Light been to Lake as child? I don't think so, right?
No, I guess he's going there now.
Because otherwise I was going to say not picking up Pierre there is the bit that surprises me.
Oh yeah, he hasn't been there as child. I think only Chimp was. Because Light was in Forest at the time.
Right, the Valley Lake play, yeah.
Chimp almost getting through Forest now, too. We'll see where it goes afterwards. I would be kind of interesting to see what he's going to end up choosing. I would assume he goes like GTG area. It seems like the most straight up play, especially after all the like lost time that he probably feels behind at this point. I would assume.
Right.
With how that child section went. It's just
pretty confident the reaction to getting that hook shot. I think it was last location. I don't think Chimp had any other options.
Nope.
I guess actually that's not true. He could have gone over to
Well,
Fortress area, but
yeah.
close to last location.
Aside from that, yeah. Like doing some ritual. Yeah, you were right about it being a wild. You said that an hour ago.
Difficult one to get back to.
Yeah.
It's actually a really tough check in settings like this.
Oh, it's one of the worst. Like, it's almost as bad as chickens, but not quite.
You can generally in League merge it together with Lens game pretty readily because of starting with Lens.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. I have been doing a lot more treasure chest game in League than anything else. You just don't want to leave it behind.
Yeah, the issue here is like you always want to save quit out. The question is like, how efficiently can you do that?
Well, he's planning to go to Lake anyway to set up here, so it's not that bad. Save quitting and serenading. That's what you're gonna do anyway. So I think this is fine here. It's wallets.
Okay. All right. That doesn't mean much, right?
No, because you can't even get to domain as adult right now. Not in logical, at least. So it doesn't really do anything. It just says that you have the access to Water Tunic or Zora Tunic. So really not a whole lot else that does.
To be fair, it is just a bomb bag, and then they have everything they need.
Yeah, wherever that is. I mean, it can totally just be in G2G right now, though, too.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that's a Deku Shield. Oh, no, I guess it can't be a wallet, can it? We saw the second one.
Not in these settings. Oh, also you get a piece of flare next to your rupee count. It's a different color. That's also what it does. You know, the red versus the blue. I don't know if I would have picked that up, honestly. I like the blue more.
Okay, there is actually like one very practical benefit to getting the second wallet there, and that is that if you find a bunch of rupees, you can potentially just buy 20 bomb shoes at once.
Okay, yeah, oh, in this scenario for sure.
Like that's the actual like practical value in this situation.
The corner case, gotcha. Yeah, I mean you haven't been to Fortress yet. That could happen. It's not impossible. You're kind of running out of checks at this point, so it's like pretty minor.
And what?
Either
one
way.
Huge rupee?
Yeah. No, they found 2.
Okay. I think that means there's a few left still.
Yeah. I need to go replace my water. It's very hot. I'll be right back.
Alrighty. Oh, Light save. Oh, Light never finished the Child Lost Woods checks earlier, so doing some of the checks that Chimp spent a bit of time on earlier, Chimp can gain back a bit of time through this then. Still have no idea what the Death Mountain Trail path to Bongo is. Like, path to Bongo? What could it even be at this point? Be in Death Mountain Trail. Where is Storm? They have what they need to logically cross the wasteland. Or I guess Storms could be across there. But otherwise it's locked behind Zelda's Lullaby, right? So what if... It almost has to be Din's fire. It almost has to be Din's trail. Or something that leads to Din. So now I'm really curious what's across the wasteland. You know, Summertime's in Ice, you know, Zelda's Lullaby is on a... And then they're missing... That was a bomb bag. That was a bomb bag on the Lost Woods Scrubs. Alright, well, there's your logic. Did Chimp not have the money for that on the way in? Oh no, the hammer was in here, right. Never mind. Probably won't go back up to those, right? Well, I guess if he's on the way up to fire, maybe he does. Rah, rah. Alright, so probably goes without saying now, Light has a bomb bag, has... Oh, has Feroz set. Okay. That also helps. But the big question here will be, Chimp just got the medallion for Beaten Forest there. See if he goes back to do those checks. If he kills the Moblin here, this is big. Like, he might have just closed the gap in no time at all. That's a kill on the Moblin. We have a race.
Oh.
Light found a bomb bag while you were gone.
Oh,
Lost Woods Scrubs.
Oh? Oh, because he skipped it earlier.
Yeah,
okay.
didn't have, and Chimp just got Hammer in Forest, and then immediately just is playing Minuet to go back towards Fire, presumably. But is doing the checks on the way with the Hammer. And just grabbed the rupees to do the scrub.
We're confirmed Pure Lock now, too?
Oh, was that... I missed that. No! Light hasn't done the one at the entrance. Light FW'd back in.
Okay.
Oh, this could be a big jump for Chimp. Light was really ahead up to this point, but like... This play might have just pulled it back into a very, very close race. Yeah, sure enough, grabs the bomb bag. So Light has most of Fire over Chimp right now. But otherwise now they're about even. And like, I would still say Light is ahead, but Chimp just pulled back quite a lot of the time that he was behind by.
Yeah, one complete, I don't know what's the word. I'm trying to think of a word. One clean completion of Fire, there we go. Versus like 3 kind of hobbled together trips to Fire with Ferora's Wind and like putting Lake in between. Like there's a big difference between those two. So Chip's just gonna be saving time here from just getting that bomb bag, and all the difficulties that led to that for Light just do not exist for Chimp. So
I think
just gotta go straight into Fire and slap it out, and it's gonna be like 5 minutes behind, something like that.
that's pretty much it. Is like Light is behind in terms of progression right now. Oh, sorry, Light is ahead in terms of progression right now. But has more opportunities to lose that time later. We've already seen Light go back into Lost Woods as child to pick up the checks on the way through. That's where he got that bomb bag. So there's definitely a scenario where, you know, Light spends a bit more time doing checks that Chimp has already done. Because Chimp obviously had that very, very thorough section of chickens and Dampe and 10 skulls.
A bottle on fish bottle on top of the lab. It's pretty weird. Pretty weird. Chicken mirror shields. Yeah, they're both on fire now, actually.
A big difference in terms of how much they've done. If Bosky is in this
the right room.
Side room in the lava.
It's gonna be a very big deal, yeah.
Okay, Chimp's audio is weirdly like disjointed from the visual, and that's throwing me off.
I think it's a Discord thing. It just like only you'll see that, but on everyone else's it'll be fine. Oh, I see a little bit too. I think I had that last time I tried to do a Discord stream though too.
It's probably from where the stream was stuttering earlier.
Yeah. Could be a lot of things.
Alright, but this is a really, really big moment on Light's end. Get to see what's on Pierre. Chimp, of course, has gone there as child, but has not set Pierre as adult. So if this is required, this is good for Light. On the flip side, when Chimp goes into the lava room, we'll see a big check on Chimp's side. Because if the boss key is on the right in there, then Chimp just gets to skip out on most of fire. And it's on Pierre. There we go. So, yeah, Light still with the definitive lead here.
Yeah, they both have Aurora's win though, and it's still a much better fire for Chimp than it was for Light, that's for sure.
Yeah, like, I think Light is still ahead, but this race suddenly looks a lot closer than it did, you know, 20, 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, they're not a Forest Temple apart anymore. That's definitely helpful. It's Forest Temple's just so long. I never remember Forest Temple either. I just turn my brain off. Just, you know. Like if there were like a private investigator, where were you on this during this time? I have no idea.
I was in the room where you needed a bow. Yeah?
I just know 10 minutes later I had Forest done. That's all I know. A lot of chews here for Light as well. I didn't even notice he had 20. So I guess he found the 10 pack on adult fishing. Or no, I guess that was the... Yeah, there were chews there.
Oh, okay, so yeah, probably 2 10 packs then.
Yeah. Wasting a few there as well.
Did not have the, Did not have the nut to blow up the chew there.
Having an interesting Globagia fight, that's for sure.
Okay, I wasn't sure if Light still had... Yeah. I wasn't sure if Light still had the hammer stored there, and I was about to be like, oh god, is this just gonna, like, do nothing? I've done that before, I hate it. Where you crouch stab and Volv just sits there watching your sword, like, you're crouch stabbing her, she's just like, okay, and?
I don't think Chimp got anything there on the right side.
No, it doesn't look like... So... Light gonna drop down through Dodongo's cavern, get Zelda's lullaby, and then... Trail? Songs? Okay, so this was the other thing I was thinking about while you stepped away. Right now, you have one song you can get without Zelda's Lullaby. You can cross the desert on foot.
Ew.
Song of Storms is 50% to lock your Path to Bongo item. Which almost has to be Din's at this stage. Or something that directly leads to Din's Fire.
Right.
So do you go and pick up the songs with Zelda's Lullaby before coming back to Trail? Knowing that if you pick up the Zelda's Lullaby ones and you get... Or like, you pick up the one in the Composer Grave and it's not Storms, you then consider going over to the desert? Like, that feels even worse.
So you pick up ZL from OOT as child. Then I would just go to Graveyard on foot, check Composer Grave first, because then you can also check the Composer Grave chest there. An item check.
They don't have a way to check that yet.
Are they not?
No, that's kind of it. Is right. If you go up to Trail, you can play Minuet, go over to Death Mountain Trail and check the Great Fairy. And if that is your Din's Fire, it then makes going to the Composer Grave and the Wasteland way better because you can do the checks while you're there. But it's a 50% chance that it's Din's Fire. Roughly.
Right, that's why I'm saying you check Composer Grave as child, not as adult.
Oh, right. I see. Yeah,
Do that, and then you make a decision, because if it's Song of Storms, you're in the best position, and if not, then you just decide to go somewhere else, which is also fine. I just don't think you want to go across Haunted Wasteland right now, just
no, I agree.
in the hopes that you get a good song. It could just be Nocturne there, and what if Rex somewhere really easy? You just don't know yet. So I think that's what I would do, but
yeah, I think I agree. It feels like a big commitment to go over the Graveyard as child after picking up the song. In Light's position, I think it's significantly better. Hasn't done Dampe yet, hasn't done Chickens, hasn't done 10 Skulls. You can get a lot of value out of that. For Chimp, I think it's a lot harder to make that call. He's got nothing else to do there. He would be going there for just the song and the...
that's, even in Chimp's case, I think it's still better to check it as child, because then you can just get that check out of the way versus having the item. It's just way more efficient, I think, so... And it's 2 versus 1 that way. So I think even then, for Chimp, it's still better if you check that first.
Sorry, there was a bow in Donongo's Cavern there.
Yeah.
The one in the crater was after Phantom Ganon. Because you needed a bow to get your hammer, to get your bomb bagged, to get this bow. That's pretty disgusting. That also means that your other bomb bags are presumably buried pretty deep into the seed. Alright, so Light finishing up the all dungeon. It's interesting that they get Zelda's Lullaby here, but they still don't really have a lot they can do.
There's a Redead Grotto here in CAC, right? I think that's the only thing it's going toward right now.
Yeah? Like, even with Zelda's Lullaby, like, what did that open up for you? Fairy fountains? I guess you get I guess if you get Din's Fire from Trail, which is likely at this stage, either it's a 50-50 chance it's just on the Great Fairy, or you get Storms available and then you can get Dins anyway.
Well, ZL opens up all of Fountain and Jobby area. Nice, so I think you just probably go there.
I don't know. Not when you know the song's dead. I think I would be looking at Shadow, be the big one. If you go and get your Dins that's hinted in Trail, then you can clear Shadow, get another song at the end of that, and then see where you stand at. Worth noting, we have a Kokiri Forest path to Baronade that right now we're assuming is the strength upgrade. Oh, Letter was in Forest. Ugh. Ugh.
On Bong or on Phantom Ganon.
Yeah. These hints are not.
Not great. They're
that
pretty open-ended.
Yeah, the early bottleneck behind Forest Temple has just absolutely muted these hints. Like, they are worthless right now. Alrighty, so Light gets Zelda's a lullaby. And exactly what you said. Making his way over towards Kakariko, it looks like.
Simply will be done with Fire pretty soon now too, so he's not going to be too much behind Light. Go from there to probably DC, I would imagine, and pick up ZL. So this is like a 5-10 minute lead we're looking at, something like that for Light. It was like 15-20 earlier, so it's gotta feel bad for Light a little bit, but
given how Chimp's like cleanup earlier went as well. Real talk, yeah. If Light does chickens here, Chimp gains a lot of time back.
Yep. Or any other checks, too. Really, I mean, Chimp's did everything that he could have. Minus some things that he's already gonna check, so see if Song of Storms is at Composer Grave, and go from there, but... Are you gonna head back to Fire for his win back? Light almost to the graveyard.
I'm gonna guess as well. You don't leave Farouz in Fire again, right? Knowing you can get your Zelda's Lullaby, you just want to get out here and get gone.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real harm in setting it right now if you're Chimp.
There's what, one check in the top section?
There's nowhere else, I mean, there's like nowhere else to put Farouz right now, so you might as well just slap it down in case you need to come back here. Because you can always cancel it, it's not a huge deal. So I feel like the cost is just so low that you just set Farouz while you're moving up that platform, because you get a few seconds while it's moving still.
You know you're going to want it for Shadow as well, though. I can see people going either way on that one, honestly. Alrighty, so see what Light picks up in.
I think they'll probably have to do both anyway, so as long as they both do both, then it's probably all that matters at this point. Like I'm gonna guess that Composer Grave is. It's gonna be Nocturne here because that's like the most annoying.
I was thinking Requiem into Storms or Nocturne.
No, I think it'll be.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Just
Nocturne here.
Nocturne.
And then
Alright.
they'll have to cross the wasteland for Song of Storms, not Wreck. No Wreck the Seed.
Well, that's locked behind Spirit on Burning Cake?
Yeah.
Ah, that's
I didn't say it was likely. It's just it's what we're gonna see.
just
I'm already half right, so I'm just doubling down here. It is an option.
So, like, checking this, and we get whole lot of nothing.
A bit disappointed with that recovery heart. He had all these grand plans to do Bomb of the Well, and all you get is a Nocturne. I would be disappointed too. So at this point, I don't know why not just leave at this point. Unless he's setting up chickens or...
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we going to see a chickens play, but doesn't look like it.
Don't know where he's going.
River? Light hasn't done River yet.
Probably that and leading into like a letter turn in.
Yeah. River to Domain I can see.
That seems okay.
Feels a little costly knowing you want to try and prioritize storms, so Frogs becomes a little more difficult. But I don't think that's the end of the world. It's one check.
Yeah.
The checks that you get doing River and Domain now more than make up for the one that you kind of trend. Yeah.
I don't think Light has all the hints to. I think he's still missing a path or two. Well, Chimp has all of them.
Yeah, I think they're both missing a foolish hint, but otherwise... Which, I mean, I think we are missing a foolish hint.
Yeah. Buying one bean. Just in case of Colossus, I suppose.
Makes sense? Alright. Imp going down to be... I just want to say Dongo Dongo.
Dongo Dongo?
King Babongo, I guess.
No, although to be fair, the only thing that I call King Dodongo is this idiot. Look at this idiot. He's so big and dumb looking. I don't know. I don't even call him by his name. Doesn't really deserve it. The only thing I like about King Dodongo is on Bonko, he dies. He's dead. It's the greatest thing on the planet. Yeah, he bonks. You don't even have to do anything. You just stand there. You can get hit, doesn't matter. He just rolls into the wall and he's dead. He begins his death animation.
Kind of amazing. Like, it makes sense, but also...
Yeah.
Oh no,
Maractus...
Chimp!
Oh.
Chimp has shoes, Chimp has shoes.
Oh, the best way was how Maraxis implemented it. It was just a random Discord message, and you said no one's safe. With a video of King Dodongo bonking and dying.
Oh, that's incredible.
I'm just waiting for more cosmetic features, like boot color, fingernail polish color, underwear color. All of
There
those
was
would be
actually legitimately, there was something that we were like, this should be an option on the cosmetic recently, and I don't remember what it was.
Hair color? Feel like that one's actually doable.
I feel like it might have been hover boots.
Ooh.
Because I think I was complaining about the like... Alright, I'm gonna complain about a thing quickly. I feel like I was commenting on the Zopar tracker art and the fact that they look like bananas.
Oh, let me bring that up here.
They're like bright yellow, the boots, and I was commenting on that, and I was like, well, like they're just like glowing. They aren't even the color of the hover boots. And someone was like, "Can we change the color of the hover boots?" So I was like, "That would be cool."
I see. Yeah, they a little bit more minimalistic than some people would like. They do look like blocks of butter. But I can see that. I just don't look at it that often to really. But you are right. Yeah, I think it'd be cool, you know, rock your Air Jordans during rando. Have like black and red upper boots. Really looking me go. You know, styling on bongo is really just can do that. Why not?
It just got me remembering like the light up shoes that you would get as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Just like, just put like grey top for the boots and then just like bright blue on the base. Light up iron boots.
Amazing. Oh, if they were the rainbow, right? Like rainbow hovers or irons or something like that.
Like cycles through the colors.
Yeah, we need like a psycho mode where it's like all textures are rainbow.
Oh god.
That would probably crash, but if it didn't, that would be both amazing and I would only want to play like 5 minutes of it before I vomit my brains out. Also, strength 2 there on domain dive.
That's a pretty big one.
Yeah, it's very out of the way. Chimpanreeve has done a lot as child. I don't really imagining him going there, of all places. But I mean, setting up for Horizon job, you know you're gonna have to come back here anyway. So I like it for that. But
Yeah.
I don't think Chimp's gonna come here.
It's a rough one. If Chimp finds the Rang somewhere,
Yeah. Then the strength is just right there, but
yeah. That's a lot easier said than done.
Still left Chimp.
Just ahead of you. Other way.
Nope. Nope.
There we go. That second bomb will do it. That second bomb will get it. I still remember back when I was first learning Rando. Someone was trying to tell me where that grotto was, and they were like, "It's in the middle of CAC," and I was like, "Which middle do you mean?"
Yeah.
It's like the middle. Like, what else does the middle mean?
Yeah, you have to look at the Doritos on the ground. They're all unique.
Yeah, Yeah, it's at the end of the like biggest triangle near the house. Oh, that was Chimp's 20th skull.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's what is this gonna be? Nothing. You're gonna pick up ZL, and Chimp will make his first routing decision in a while.
Big wide open Zelda's Lullaby. It doesn't open that much.
Yeah, it's kind of why I like that play from Light. Like, it opens up so much in the fountain area. You're gonna have to get rid of that letter anyway. Setting the furrows in here is a big gain for it. Probably the best reason to do that. Gets a few more skulls as well that are all on the way. Oh, wow.
That was nearly a
sniped
perfect
out of the
trick shot.
backflip. Yeah, that was amazing. I thought he was gonna still hit the switch though. Kind of
Right, I thought the backflip was missing it, and I thought the Shabomb had hit him onto it, and then it just pushed him just over.
Yeah, Lightswoord getting beat up in Java here. As Chimp picks up the Ocarina. And Zio.
Damn, like move too much for a wiggle.
Chimp going for field checks. Or at least this one, because it's right here.
Oh, so you said about cosmetics changes, by the way. This isn't a cosmetics change, this is like a gameplay one, but... So, you've been playing OOTR for a while, you remember the old school OOTR meme, right? Rue showed me the other day that there is a pull request for blue fire arrows.
Oh, recent?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which is like the oldest goddamn meme there is. But also, I can't believe somebody actually did it.
Yeah, I think it was just requiring someone to give a shit about it, because I don't think anyone did. Except like a couple people that like screamed it in chat, and every time they ever appear anywhere.
Yeah, I remember that being
So
when I was getting into comms.
I can get why people think the Suns thing is a joke, but it's not. It's definitely the worst song. It shouldn't be in Rando. It's not. It's a thing, but ice arrows. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts on that. I think it'd be cool. That's about it. That's about it. Chimp going back in fire, actually, though. He did set furrows back in here.
Oh, wow. Alright.
Interesting. I didn't think he put it there, but I guess
yeah, this is pretty spicy then.
Okay, okay.
I guess maybe he save quits out afterwards and goes to do the Great Fairy. Gets 2 fairies here, including one on that trail path to Bongo.
Bombchi bowling for light. Yeah, the only thing I don't like about it is that, ooh, fire arrows.
The next bow as well. So yeah, all your bomb bags are bow locked. Cool. These not
the castle fairy.
Okay, they did both have to be.
Yeah, I don't know if Chimp was counting out the keys there, but that had to be a key.
Probably realized that as he was opening it, because otherwise you just... Oh no, the hammer chest was already hinted, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Alright, is climbing out though. This is a potentially big moment. I'm interested to see where Light goes from here, because the obvious play is Spirit. But Spirit's foolish. That's a hell of a long way to trek for a foolish dungeon.
You have to check that song anyway at this point, because where else are you gonna get Requiem? If you can even get it. So I mean,
Shadow? Prelude would be the big one.
Yeah, I guess so. I think I would just put Roars in G2G. And then just continue on to Spirit. And you just clear G2G after Spirit.
Oh.
I think that's what I would probably do, but...
Where does Light have Furrows right now?
Don't
Is it
really
fire?
know. Is it?
It's in fire.
Interesting.
They're both.
Yeah, I didn't think either of them did that, but I guess they both did.
Yeah.
He's putting it here again? Oh, he's going to DMT?
I guess, yeah. This makes sense.
No
given the
Bolero?
past,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Oh.
at that stage, I'm surprised at just leaving the Furrows here and not just getting the check before you head out. But I guess I like what Chimp did more because it frees up your Furrows for Shadow. Still missing one of those foolish as well.
I guess it's that Colossus. Alright, here goes Chimp.
Alright, 50-50. It basically is, right? Is this all the Storm's Grotto? It's that one.
Yeah, it's...
Alright. Chimp doesn't have Nocturne yet.
Hmm.
So that gives Light a bit of an edge there.
Yeah, I think Light just goes straight Shadow now, for sure.
Even beyond, you know, Light having the Strength 2 and stuff like that, I think gives Light a bit of an edge.
Yeah, it took less time. I mean, even... Yeah, no matter how you slice it, it took him less time to get to Graveyard from where he was. It set him up for the domain play. And he just has a much better idea because of that, of like what's left in the seed, even especially for his go mode. So I think Light's definitely ahead here. It really comes down to where Boomerang is a little bit, because that's just in Shadow. I wouldn't feel too far ahead if I were him, but
yeah.
Like if it's in GCG though, that's totally different story. Depends on how hard Chimp goes for that. But in terms of like when they enter Shadow here, it's going to be a couple minutes maybe of difference.
All we know so far is that Kokiri Forest was on the path to Baronade. That was a strength upgrade. And that tells us nothing. If, like, Strength 2 could be in Shadow, or the other strength could be in Shadow, and at that point Chimp has lost nothing at this stage. The Boomerang could be in Shadow, and Chimp will have lost nothing at this stage, and all of those are possible and still lead to that strength being path, because that strength locks pretty much the whole seed.
Yeah, Chimp would still need to find a scale for it to really not actually matter, but...
Well, like, right now, though, the strength locks the hammer. Which locked Zelda's Lullaby and like Bomb Bag and what else even?
But Light will still have that for Auras and Jabu, so just in terms of, but it'll be one trip versus that, so yeah, it'll be pretty much the same thing. Okay. I had to think about that one for a minute. I was like,
Right now, Light has the edge on the strength, but there is a ton that can change it, and also...
Yeah.
There are, like, little bits and pieces here and there, like Light having FW and Jabu, that give him an extra bit of an edge, but they're tiny edges. Tiny, tiny edges. I'm not actually convinced the Feroz will do that much, given they don't have Requiem. Okay, and a 4 and 9 Truth Spinner.
Always feels good. See what Light gets here. I'm gonna say it's the second one. Ooh, unlucky.
Time loss that you can't do anything about. A 1 in 3.
At this point, it might actually matter, so...
I still love, like... Who coded that? Who decided that they were going to be 4 and 9, 2 and 9, and then 3 and 9?
Yo, I'm Team Zephyr here. I would also just use Lens.
I
settings at least.
Generally agree if you're doing the equipped already, which you usually will be because you're going to have to equip Din's Fire.
Yeah. You want to add an extra equip, but at the same time, I mean... Interesting movement across the rupee room. It's probably just what everyone does. I'm just the weirdo.
I go the other. I go like the opposite. I go center, then left, and then around.
Let's jump those here.
Okay. Everyone have different paths to this one.
Yeah, that's what the chimp does. Exactly what I do here.
Oh, okay. Now I get the central one first, loop around the statue to get the other one in the middle, then go into the left alcove, the corner, and then the kind of front right alcove.
Yeah, the only thing I do differently is I do gainers on each of the stumps, ideally. Which is a lot of movement, but it looks cool. It saves you a little bit of time. If you don't get hit and blah blah blah, but you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, like, it saves you time if you don't get hit by the spikes. And if you do, you lose quite a bit of time. But it looks good when you get it.
Yeah, especially if you're being restreamed, like, you have to go for it then.
So, interestingly after this, I haven't really touched on it, but Light is actually only 2 items. I guess 3 items, I don't know. Rang, long shot, and then probably iron.
Aren't great items either.
No,
have you
no.
be in go mode, like it's
Not really what you want, but does mean there's not that much left.
no, it's
Maybe
fine. I mean, I think they'll just go GTG. I don't see where else you would go on the map here. Like even the ice simps, like whatever. But
it probably, yeah, like, obviously there's still a chance they'll find something in Shadow that will change it, but as it currently stands, yeah, like, I don't see a world where you go anywhere other than Fortress and GTG after it.
because you already have your dungeon foolishness, so GTG cannot be like completely dead. At least it has to have something, or at least it's not going to be Pented foolish. So it's a little bit safer, at least sticking to the dungeons that way, and it's better than ice. And at that point, you're just a couple items away from go, and nothing's logically pointing either direction really. It's just open. Just I feel a lot safer. But if you know somebody's going to go there, or if you know somebody's going to go ice, then you can kind of plan accordingly. But can get a little tough trying to do that. You can just throw races by metagaming that way too. Seen it many times. Light not using Furor's Wind for this room. It's a little interesting.
Kind of keeping in fire, I guess, which... this is where that backfires a little bit. Not a huge cost, but it's a cost.
Yeah. Definitely gonna end up mattering here. And Jim's just a room behind now. Still missing that second strength, of course. That's in domain, but again, won't really matter too much depending on where Boomerang is. A lot of it's too is kind of just lined up so well, at least for Chimp's routing in his side. Ooh, nice scale.
That's a really valuable scale on Chimp's end as well. That whole Furor's Wind in Jabu means a little less when you've got Serenade in the scale.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely good for Chimp.
I think the big question here is going to be, or the two big questions here are going to be the Boomerang, and if the third strength shows up. Because if the other strength shows up, Chimp doesn't have to worry about domain at all. And obviously if the Boomerang shows up, then Chimp will make his way over to domain anyway. So as it stands right now, Light probably has the edge still on that strength. As well as, like, a slight lead in terms of progression. The things that Chimp would want to turn it around are the other strength upgrade, the Boomerang to push him to. It's been a really close race though. This has been, I think, like, Light has had the edge the entire way, but it's been really, really close the entire way.
Yeah, a lot of like kind of awkward moves out of Light, at least from what I can tell. Just in terms of like routing and some sequencing a little bit that Chimp has a little bit more solidly, but Chimp also wastes a lot more time as child, so Light Arrow is there though. Give their room. Definitely it'll make it quicker for the go mode.
Yeah, no,
I think they're always gonna find those.
Yeah. One that you're always happy to see on the way, just because it means there's one less concern later on into it. But not exactly
blood pressure is a little bit lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not going to be enough to make you feel good about the seed, but it's enough that you'll feel a little happier playing it.
Again, really good for Chimp. He's 2 strengths off from a potential My Castle ruining his day, so kind of what you want to be seeing in a situation. We move toward the back half of Shadow here. Or the back third.
I guess the one question here, we were saying about going over to the Garuda area, but if the prelude check is storms, do you ever consider bottom of the well instead?
Yeah, I think that's gonna come down to player preference most of the time. Because if there's other things left in Child that you can go do after or before well or whatever, then it changes that question a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
But
I don't know Light's habits quite as well, but I know that at least in the past, Chimp was not a big fan of bottom of the well.
Yeah. And it's just overall way fewer checks. Well, the likely outcome is you're going to have to go both anyway, and you're already adult at that point with Prelude in the seed too. If you didn't have Prelude, then maybe not. Just because it would take more time. You're adding another trip. And you're kind of hoping Boomerang is going to be in bottom of the well and not in GCG, which is just a lot less likely without hints or logic kind of pointing there. So.
Oh, that's big. That is huge. Okay.
That's
yeah, that is actually, assuming the outside Ganon's castle doesn't lead to anything, that's really good for Chimp. Because he just can avoid the main now. No, on the topic of GTG versus bottom of the well again, the one side note I was going to say is that's actually one of the things for Light that is going to be really bad here. The one downside to going over to the Garuda area now is that you could finish that by then crossing, doing Spirit, except there's the potential that you can't beat Spirit if you need Requiem, at which point you leave Feroz Wind there. I guess you could always just stop at Temple of Time, play Prelude first, and then do it. And that probably rectifies that problem entirely. But
I just think most people are not going to do Foolish Dungeon, even if it would kind of help them in their routing. Like, majority of the time, at least.
I don't know. In a situation like that, where it's, okay, I can do this now and never have to worry about coming back here, especially with something like Spirit. One of the reasons, though, I think setting for Roswind could be really good there as well. Especially if you can't get a boss key, if it's on child side and you just have to kind of abandon it for a bit. Light doesn't have that option. Because it's the one that's in fire without abandoning the FW in fire, which I think you probably want that situation, but then if you're going to do that, you abandon it in Shadow. Like, you use it be faster in Shadow as well.
I just think that most players are gonna look at a Foolish Dungeon and just kind of laugh at it. Like, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you, but I
mean, like, you gotta do it at some point. I don't know.
Yeah.
You'll do it when it's convenient to do it, and if there's no, you know, if it's something like Forest and you've got Minuet early, you're like, whatever, I can do this whenever I want, and so you use it as thinking time or like dead air at the end of a seed. But something like Spirit, where there's like a real challenge of how do I get to Spirit effectively? How do I wrap this in? I think there's a bit more merit to doing it when it's good to do it and not just when it's convenient.
It's gonna be similar to how they approach water here. Like, will they need Song of Time? Maybe, but probably not. But it just depends on how risky they want to play it. With Roar's Wind, you can be as risky as you want to be, though. So I think we're going to be saying this probably the same thing out of both.
So Light picking up the song, and yes, Bolero. I was not expecting that one there.
Yeah, because you're have to go get Song of Storms by crossing.
So I don't see a world where it's not Requiem. It has to be Requiem over there, right? And then Storms on Burning Cat? That's
Yeah, and you have to. I think we're gonna be seeing Storms or Bomb of the Well anyway. Like no matter what we do, we're gonna see it.
maybe, yeah. Also,
Just,
big check over on Lightside coming up. If this is something, Chimp is in a bad spot. This is nothing?
I don't know if Chimp can win if something's here.
But on the other hand, if this is nothing, Chimp has a huge potential.
Yeah, you scale at least, so you can make it up. But...
And then, of course, if this is like Boomerang, then like probably on the spot. Ooh, that ain't it?
Nope.
Nope. Remember to check the hint first. Okay.
Ooh, nice color for gauntlets. Oh, what is he doing?
Player has FW set here, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could just menu it and be faster, so I don't know why he's doing that, but... Or... At least I thought he did, so...
I love that Chimp there went to get the prelude check and immediately just hit A on learning the song. Just immediately went A down. And I was like, wait, this is wrong. He was so ready for it to be Storms or Requiem. It's like, it doesn't matter, A down is the start. Oh, Light never did this! Right! The bombable check at the start of Fire. I'd forgotten about this.
I guess. I mean,
It frees up your Feroz. I don't agree with it, but it frees up your Feroz. I get it.
Yeah. It's quick enough. It's whatever. But that does look like Chimp is taking the lead now.
Yeah, there are still like a few kind of differences here and there in terms of what they've done, but advantage Chimp, I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
Not a big advantage though. It's
no. There's a lot of things that can still happen left in the seed. We're only about 2.25 hours in.
oh, interesting. Light went over to the Goron and then has doubled back for the compass. I guess realized that you almost have to do this first, or else you'll get locked in there. And you know Hammer Chest is useless at this stage. And Light realizing it's key. Getting out of here. Wait, what? Okay, now I'm even more confused. Ice Cap? From both of them? Really?
We're synced up, heading nice!
Gotta be kidding me. Okay, Chip is checking a hint. Fountain Foolish, Fountain Foolish, Fountain Foolish. No, okay, Crater for the bow, that's that one. This is...
I mean, I like ice as much as the next person, but it's definitely
Chimp's
C.
out!
Yeah, okay. Okay,
That's...
okay.
Chimp
Chimp seeing the
came
light.
in
Chimp seeing the light. Nope, wait.
and
He changed his mind?
they're buffering. We've lost Chimp stream again. Come back. Where's he going? Alright, alright. I'll do the thing. I'll refresh the stream, and I'm sorry. He didn't change his mind! He did, he cancelled it! Are you kidding me?
He changed his mind after changing his mind. He doesn't know what to think.
I'm keeping it where it is. I don't want to. Oh my god. This is. So we have double ice. Yeah. I'm stunned.
It's just so far out of the way. I mean, it definitely. In some ways, it feels like a safe play because you don't want to go GTG without Song of Time. I can kind of get that.
I get it, yeah. On that front, for sure, but...
As well as water. Like, if you just need Song of Time, you don't want to have to come back all the way here. But, at the same time, it takes forever to get here. Not a very good location. There already have, like, most of the hints, right?
Yeah? I'm pretty sure they both have the same hints at this point, which is all of the paths. They're only missing a Foolish, as far as I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess checking if that Foolish was something like Fountain is the merit to checking the Medigoron hint on the way in and stuff. And then also you get a couple of hints while you're here, but I don't know, I don't... Okay, admittedly, to be fair, I am not exactly known as somebody who likes Ice Cavern as a play. So
well, they have all of the items for GTG, though. Like, surely you go there, right? Because you're looking not only for one item, but like 2 or 3 at this point. Plus, you're heading that way for Spirit. Like, it just makes too much sense to me.
I would go to GTG, but it doesn't take a lot to convince me to go to GTG.
Sure. One thing... You...
Oh, are you serious? They're both?
This is what I was gonna suggest.
This is you've got to be kidding. Wait, what is happening? Trace.
I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I wish I could.
That's a hiding shield, I think.
I think Light was set Furores because he likes Furores.
Light set the FW so that after going to the end, because he's got 2 bottles, he can fill 2 bottles. I don't know. I think he can fill 2 bottles of blue fire. He doesn't have to go back to the silver rupee room. And then he can just FW back to the start and check King Zora because he's already turned in the letter.
No, but he's already gotten the hint that King Zora is dead, though.
Oh, that's true, though, yeah. And, oh my god. In that case, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know why the FW would be there.
You're going for 1 check? Map chest and then leaving? Is the only thing that makes sense for that?
Fountain, right?
No, he didn't.
So you FW out to do that afterwards? No. Okay, I'm actually just going to refresh. I'm sorry for ad.
Hopefully we get some delightful ads. Yeah, let's go!
I'm muting the ad. Oh, we'll wait until it's done. Light is being bullied by Ice Keys right now as well.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely just incredulous at this, though. It's turned it into a hell of a race, though, right? We get the Ice Cavern play versus the not quite Ice Cavern
kind of.
set for Roars and then bail to GTG?
I'll do ice if I lose play, I guess.
I have a lot of questions about this, but I'm excited to see where it leads.
Honestly, same. Is it raining outside? Oh shit, it is.
Sorry, Chip's opponent noise is a Goron. That's amazing. Like, opponent rears up like...
Ooh.
So good.
Yeah, I might lose internet at some point here.
Oh. Okay.
Probably not, but
Hopefully fine. Yeah.
well, when it storms here, it really
Yeah. So.
goes wild. I just see a big patch of gray outside, and that's it. It's been a couple months. It's about time.
Alright, every time.
Are they two separate noises? The like Goron getting up and down? Can it be both of those?
I think it's just the one of it like sitting up.
Oh, okay.
There's a separate noise for it standing up, right?
I think so.
It's like a. Clearing out all the field checks here. Not really. This feels odd to me because, like, just bailed on ice.
Yeah. Kind of for all the same reasons that you're doing field here. So
Yeah. You're not gonna push the momentum of that, like. Because now you're thinking if it's like ice, you've made a mistake. Like.
Oh, I think he's going to carry through and go to Fortress, but I think going there first makes more sense for me.
Like, I get this, it feels safe, and at the same time it feels thorough, and I don't like that.
I mean, Chim's been very thorough the whole time, so I don't think anything's changed there, but... So it was a little weird that he put Ferora's Wind in ice, and just left after he's being so thorough everywhere else. Definitely, probably the most shocking thing so far. Or other than setting Ferora's and still doing it. But that one needs verification, I think, to know if it's actually faster.
The only thing I could think is, like, is it a nod to the forest path to Morpher? Because that locked Letter? But also it locked Hammer, and Hammer locked...
Ooh, the boomerang!
Boomerang. The Hammer locked the boomerang. Apparently. I was going to say the Hammer locked everything, because it locked bombs, but... It...
Well,
yeah, okay.
Now you just put Ferora's in Fortress and you leave. And now you... Chimp has so much egg on his face right now. Just...
You're only missing your water. Like 2 items for water and that's it. You're done at that point.
Yeah.
You've got enough to go and beat Spirit. You've got enough to beat Jabu. That gets you storms. Like, no matter what happens, you get storms out of that. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you maybe do GTG.
Maybe check... You maybe check the first 2 lock checks.
I think if you're going to go... There. I think at this
you
point...
probably should.
You're either doing GTG or Bottom of the Well. Like, as your top priority. You do one or the other. So I could see, because, like, no matter... Spirit we know is foolish, and Jabu never has anything. So you're either You're doing GTG here on the assumption that you need to do it to get to the water items, or you're skipping it here to push your dungeons so that you can then do... Oh, well, I guess I'm definitely refreshing this time. Sorry, we get
think if I were
ads
Chimp, I
again.
would. I love ads. Don't get me wrong. I think if you're in Chimp's situation here, you set for ores in GTG, you check the lobby chests, then you just go to Spirit. Just go see if it's possible to do, because then if you go to Jobby from that point onwards, then you'll at least get Burning Cac. And I think that sets you up a little bit better in
If you're
terms of
doing
like,
that, I think you're doing it to go to bottom of the well afterwards.
right.
And that's pretty much my point, I guess, is like, you can either do bottom of the well after Jabu. You know you'll get storms from either the Requiem check or from Burning Cac. Either way, you get access to bottom of the well and you do that. Or you go, okay, well, I'm going to do Spirit and Jabu, and then where is my next play be? And if your answer is GTG, just do it now. Don't bother with this backtracking between dungeons that aren't going to do anything. Like, just do it now while you're here, and then move on. Don't know what's happening with this. Try this again. Oh no, Chimp's having some internet issues, I guess. That's what's happening.
Wow, the storm is so big, it's reaching from my place to Jim's. I feel like we should have heard about this.
All right, well,
well, Chimp's somewhere in the game.
On hold right now.
Yeah.
Should be back. Fresh one.
Meanwhile, I mean, Light's going the right way at least for this boomerang.
Yeah, Light heading over towards Fortress area now. I hate this advert. I hate.
Was it?
I'm not. I'm not big on Amazon at the best of times, but like, oh my god, this advert is annoying.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh.
I just don't like the. You could have done without the eyebrow raise there. I just don't like that.
Oh, another bomb bag locked behind a bow.
So looks like he's going to do GTG now because he doesn't want to mess around. He also doesn't want to look foolish putting the floors in ice, I think. But there's a real possibility you have to go back there too. So I think this kind of gets both routing things kind of taken care of, and then you can still go bomb well later too. This way, it just if you do GTG and there's absolutely nothing in here with 2 items from go, do you just chalk that up to RNG, or do you just accept the loss?
Oh, he's a key up on that side.
Yeah, it feels not great.
Yeah, I mean, there's worse, right? You'd much rather see a key there than an item, but...
Yeah, that's definitely true. You see Song of Storms there. Oh, something's gone wrong.
Who wrote this? I'm memeing about that one in a call the other day. You know when people are always like competing to be the worst seed roller, and I'm like, well, who got the settings wrong? Because they're actually the worst seed roller.
That's the actually worst.
Yeah, the argument we came up with was that one S3 qual when ice traps were turned off, and then like Void had been away for a few months and didn't realize and rolled a one with ice traps on. We were like, oh, there you go, there's your worst seed roller. The person who actually got the settings wrong in a qualifier.
Yeah, I remember that. That was good times. The community took it pretty well. I'm lying, they didn't.
Void is one of those people you can't be mad at. Void's fucking great.
No, but yeah, people were a little mad.
There were some pretty angry, but...
Makes for a funny footnote now, though.
best part of that was like people were going early Deku or early adult, and no matter which way you went, you didn't. You still got an ice trap very early because Anju had one and Goma had one.
Mhm. Yeah, I think this is just the safest play to just go Jabu, just go do your progression. You have to do it anyway. So
I don't.
I kind of, I like this play from Light.
I don't. I really don't. I I think if you're going to do, I don't mind doing Jabu. I don't mind doing your progression. But if you're going to do it, I think you just go to Spirit first. Because Spirit will have Spirit going to Spirit is required for both of your songs. No matter which song you're trying to get, you need to go to Spirit, right? Either it's on the Requiem check and you get storms there, or it's Burning Cack and you get storms there. I think if you're doing this, you're playing towards doing Bottom of the Well. I can hear that storm. Jesus.
It was a extremely big lightning strike that hit in town. So
Oh Christ. Okay. Well, um. So yeah, I think this play from Light feels like it's pushing progression too aggressively. And I know that feels like a really weird thing to say for a lot of people who hear Rando, where it's just like, haha, just rush your dungeons, etc. And like, yeah, 90% of the time, sure, but like, if I've learned one thing with Rando, it's that there are no hard rules. The only rule is that there are no strict rules. Like, nothing is 100%. Other than, I guess, try not to die. Even that's not 100%. Sometimes you try to die.
yeah, I get what you're saying for sure though. You didn't Lights didn't put fours in GTG, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
been like
actually
one
see
reason
it.
where I wouldn't like that, but because then you can't just reset your position back to where it should be to go cross, because you know you're gonna have to cross like you're saying. So that's the one reason why I wouldn't like this, but I do like that he is doing progression at the same time. Versus GTG, which still highly likely has something, um, but it's not a guarantee.
Oh, I want to refresh. I guess if I just refresh it, nothing shows there's nothing. Did light fell? Wait, does
Yeah.
FW do anything here?
Um.
It's not that the audio broke; it's
Yeah.
that the audio is on Chimp's stream. So Chimp's stream broke. We're back. We didn't go. Question mark?
Hmm.
Um. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. There's always the chance that like you get something from Jabu, and there's always the chance that you go at it and you can get storms in one quick swoop through, and you have your FW and GTG or whatever. But I don't know. I feel like the odds of Jabu having something here are low enough that the time you're spending setting FW and GTG and going child to do Jabu and then going adult again and whatever is just wasted time. I think it's close. I can definitely see the merits of it, but I still think I disagree with it.
So we're hoping for a second scale in GCG. Sure, you can skip Iron Boots, and then long is somewhere. I don't know. Um,
Wasteland?
they're kind of running out of places. So
I mean, I can only see something being.
See, I'd want to. For me, I would want to cross just because you want to know if it is actually Requiem on Requiem, because it'd be really bad if it was Storms and you just it can go south real fast. But just because all of those checks are super fast, so
Yeah. I think the thing I'm thinking as well is like if you cross and get storms, you know you can beat Spirit on the spot. You know you
yep,
do not need to do anything else because Spirit locks Requiem. And if you cross and get Requiem, then you try and beat Spirit because it locks storms. Either
oh,
way, there's like huge merit to doing that one.
she found
Um
long shot
oh, was there a long shot there?
on the screen. Yeah, thought I saw a
Oh,
long shot.
we'll see that if he pauses again then. But if he did, then that's maybe GTG was just the answer and we're done. Maybe he's just pushing
Possibly.
this now as a okay. If you're only missing one item, I do think the Jabu play becomes a little stronger because one item is reasonable to find. Jabu is bad for checks, but one item, whatever. Finding two items there, I think, is low enough that you're just like never going to push it.
Yeah.
I cannot tell if that's hook shot or long shot. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Are we trusting Chimp's tracker here? Because, yeah, Chimp's tracker has long shot and iron boots. I just checked.
Oh, well.
Chimp might have actually found go mode in GTG.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that's long shot on his inventory screen at least.
I'm not gonna lie, I can't tell the difference when it's grayed out.
It's a little fatter. It's like pretty much it.
But yeah, apparently has irons as well, so
Yeah, why wouldn't you cross there? Is my question too.
I question.
Just because if you're in go, what? There's nothing you can find here that would make it faster. He already has bigger on swords. I don't know what
Hasn't picked up the Requiem song according to the
that
tracker,
would
so I
do. Nice
don't know,
bomb bag there
yeah.
on the Baronade.
Oh, cool.
Very useful.
So every bomb bag was bow locked, and every bow was bomb locked except the first. That's
Yep.
that's horrendous, and I love it. There was a bow on bomb shoe bowling, and there was a
hmm
bow. I can't even remember where the other one was now. Um,
above above the dongo
above King Dodongo, right?
on
Yeah,
the bridge. Yeah, I thought.
and then the bomb bags were like the first one on the Lost Wood Scrubs with the hammer locked by Forest by the bow, and then the lobby of GTG and Baronade.
Yeah, it's
This seed was something.
well. I mean, you're saying the hints were bad, but like it's kind of good that they're only pointing to the only bow and the only bomb bag that you can get, right? In a way.
The bow at least, yeah. The bow was
Oh, the
pretty
bomb bag was a little
much,
random, but
yeah.
yeah. But at least for the bow, it was pretty good. But the hint location though for that is really not good. I think it was like they were both out of the way. That's all I know. But I think one of them was
Chimp,
second castle,
Chimp
maybe.
might have left FW in DCG,
Yeah,
so
that's
he
what I
might have
think he
just,
did.
yeah. If he had it there already, he might have like just immediately preluded after finding go mode to do this
hmm
to then FW into GTG, cross to Spirit. I think if you're going to do that though, you want to cross to Spirit and then FW there, right? Because then you at least get the song, you find out if it's Requiem or Storms. You have Requiem if you need that to go in as child. I don't know, yeah. I'm trying to think of reasons to not cross there, and I can't find one.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I just realized I've still got chimps all ads. There you go. Have some actual. I was gonna say music, but at the moment it's just like squelchy background noise. But
That's OOT in a nutshell. That's how I would describe it, as squelchy background noise. But I think we were like talking the whole time anyway, so it doesn't matter. But either way, yeah. So how would you rate the seed?
I like on a 10 is the best rando seed I've ever played, or as in 10 is like actually amazingly fun and I would do it again.
You can use whatever scale you want.
I was gonna say, if we go with the latter, I don't think any rando seed gets above like a 7. I'm a big proponent of there is no such thing as a good seed. But I don't know, I think this one's really interesting in terms of the logic.
Mm-hmm.
Actually playing it is hard to say, because well, I guess there's not really any opportunity to get baited here either. I guess just ice. Ice is like the one where maybe you get baited into it, but I think that's like pretty easy one to avoid because you already know that the song is the same. Yeah. I like this kind of seed. This is the kind of seed I would want to play.
This is like a solid 5 for me. It's like fine, but I would rather go eat a burrito instead.
That doesn't make it a 5. Come on, burritos are at least an 8. I'm a big fan of burritos.
Oh, I like burritos too, but I'm just saying I would get more enjoyment out of that than this seed, I think. ZL and OOT, that's...
I don't know, like, this isn't a casino, but, like, it also isn't linear bottleneck, just go from place to place and you're done kind of thing. It's like, there were some decisions, but there were some decisions that were, like, educated.
I think the only thing they could have done differently was just rush bomb juice, and then maybe you find the bombs locked behind bombs sooner. But
yeah,
I don't even know if that helps you with this seed.
I think GTG being open as early as it was is interesting in this one. And then the bomb juice and the fact that they ended up going towards ice. There are definitely a couple little things here and there that could have swung things.
I guess we haven't seen water yet, so it's not technically over yet.
That's
Especially
true.
with Lightswoord and Fortress here.
Yeah, if Song of Time ends up being required, especially, then that could be pretty game-changing. Alright, time to see what Imp did with Feroz downtime.
It's a really ugly bow color for light.
Yeah, those don't go well together.
It looks awful.
Oh yeah, pink, orange, and lemon. Perfect.
Coincidentally, that's the colors of my room.
I was gonna say, it looks like a, kind of like a chewy sweet. I was gonna name specific ones, but I don't know which ones exist. I saw which ones don't.
And Jim going for water. Makes sense. I don't know if he put Feroz in GTG then. Because if he thinks that he wants to do this right now,
Hey.
I think I don't know. He might have just left it on ice.
Yeah,
It's not
maybe?
that much extra time to just go there from Lake versus GCG. It's stone throw away with Epona. Or we don't know where these items are in GCG either, because of Jim's stream going down. But
Yeah.
it's possible
Like,
that Light just leaves after a long shot and leaves irons.
we saw the chimp peek to the right side and then went back again, so I would assume that like early checks on the left. In fact, we saw him fighting the Wolfos, so it's probably like the Strength 2 room and the bow checks after that we're looking towards.
Yeah, it's probably true. Oh, it's probably just gonna be in the same room then. Yeah, interesting.
Oh, well, never
Or
mind. There's the long shot.
okay.
Cool.
Literally one of the first checks. Okay.
Right. Okay, they're just side by side. Cool. Well, that's something.
Very cool. Yeah, it looks like he's gonna go across wasteland first.
Yeah.
And then do water after.
That makes sense. This is a really close race now. This is absurdly close. The fact that they're doing different dungeons as well makes it really hard to tell who's ahead at this stage.
It really depends on where the BKs are in both dungeons, and then it comes down a little bit to execution. But aside from that, the only open question now is: do we need Song of Time for BK and water?
Yeah, if Song of Time is
so.
required, then Light just wins. But that's what, a 1 in 10? 1 in 11? Yeah.
It's not great. Not great odds. Still higher than winning the lottery, so.
That's a lot of keys. Chimp did map first as well, so that's 3 checks, 3 keys.
But definitely, required Song of Time here is like the scratch off ticket of Rando, though.
Oh, we know Central Pillar was just a check as well. We know it's not a key of any form.
Keys.
God, the Light following the Poe, and it just reminds me that, like, that Poe takes you so dangerously close to Void Plane. Like, the Poe walks in such a way that you will, like, so nearly void out, and then it just, like, turns around and you don't. Oh, we lost. Thought it was having some storm issues, so see if they can make it back, but now you're stuck. Alright, so Light picks up Requiem. Of course it is. What else would it be? I feel like it was incredibly likely there just because Spirit on Fire Medallion Burning Cack. The odds of Spirit being Spirit locked were... Oh, sorry. Requiem being Spirit locked were incredibly low. Another key and Chimp starts to panic. He's getting pretty absurd. Alright, Chimp dropping down to do the dragon chest, remembering no Song of Time makes this pretty essential at this stage. Light did pick up a key as well, so child side presumably not needed yet. Maybe still for boss key, but looking good right now at the very least. Guessing that's Storm playing havoc on the internet.
just Discord being shit.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. I likes to.
Yeah, I decided to just go get more water. But
Requiem was vanilla.
wow.
Yeah, I know. Stunning. Who would have thought?
I swear to God, if this is on fucking River Chest.
Oh.
Thanks, Chimp. Thanks. Appreciate it.
What, Chimp? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Chimp?
Yeah, blame the person who rolled the seed, right? That's how most people handle this kind of thing. Who rolled this seed? Oh, it was Light.
Oh, okay. This is why you get a third party, so you don't have to blame your opponent.
Yeah, there was a key on adult side, so as long as Song of Time isn't needed, it's in pretty good spot still. Like, it's still a really close race, but the further this goes, the more dangerous it looks.
I mean, it's on a coin flip right now, right? So it's about as bad as it can be at this point. Oh. So we haven't seen the BK in Spirit yet, right?
I don't think so. Chimp doesn't have Song of Time as a big concern here for water, so if the boss key is locked behind Song of Time, he has to go and do Ice Cavern, which is a lot of a time commit.
He didn't find the second wallet either, so he's even behind there as well. You can't just like go by fire and then go from there.
Right. Alright, Chimp. What's the damage? Oh!
Hey!
And we have a race still. This is incredibly
Definitely
close.
Comes down to how you route water, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it'll make a difference though, because
You're a madman.
it's so late that it's basically the same.
Yeah. I can see an argument if you think it's a close race to just
you get your 3
spam
keys at the
opening,
start,
yeah,
you just go straight in, skip the middle
Yeah.
level completely.
Especially with Furores too. It's definitely a consideration at least. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but it's definitely something you could do to maybe save time.
Oh, that's true actually. Yeah, like having Song of Time means he won't go over and do the dragon chest first.
He's putting it down here.
What is this?
This is just to save time coming from this side
Fine.
so you don't have to walk.
I guess it means
It's
you can go
also-
over to the other side, do the firelock check, and then there's
You
the
might want
sunblock room.
to. You might want a magic refill at the beginning too. So this is what you would do if you want like maybe a little bit more magic, but you know, you're also using magic at the same time to get more magic. But you know, it's and you can get more at the top of the slugs too. So I think this is just for movement purposes. But
Still no boss key, as far as I know. So yeah, this will be to go over. You get both hands, sunblock room, and then you don't have to leave the sunblock room. You can just rolls your way out again.
mhm.
Oh, never mind. There's your boss key. Epona? Get anywhere near the island?
I don't know what happens if you do this.
I can't say I've tried this before.
If she goes on the bridge, that'd be amazing. But I don't think that's the case. Because I'm pretty sure what would happen is she would try to go underwater.
There she is.
Oh, but
Oh.
yeah, I guess she's right there. I've definitely seen Epona do some wild shit though, so I don't really trust him. I wouldn't play Epona's there. Pretty soon you'll just see like Epona replacing one of the Gways in the sky and be like, how did she get up there? What is even happening?
I think without fail, every time I do Water Temple, I ride Epona into the middle of the lake, leave her there, beat water, and the lake fills.
Mhm. Oh no. Drowned horse.
The fact that you have to basically full clear water and basically full clear spirit does make this pretty ridiculously slow. And it's worth pointing out again, like, we've got their records at the top. These two are definitely in a hot competition with each other at this point.
Mhm.
It's worth noting, Division 5, there's only one relegation. So, right now, these two are kind of towards the bottom of the table. But if one of them can stay up at the expense of the other, they'll probably take that instantly, so...
Yeah, a win here would put either of them in a really good position to not be last at the very least.
Yeah. I know they always say in football, it's like, this is basically a 6-point match, right? It's like, it's not just the 3 points for the win, it's also 3 points that your closest competition doesn't get. Like, they are each other's closest competitor right now. This match is worth 6 points. Now, obviously, it doesn't quite work out that way, I guess, if they have 2 games against each other, because they can go 1-1, but...
Don't think that's a great way to look at it, just from as a competitor. Mostly because I feel like you would want to approach each game separately, like they're independent of each other.
Oh, for sure, but
yeah,
at the same time,
it can get kind of into a dangerous thinking territory there a little bit, but if you're not careful. But I agree with you mostly.
It's yeah, honestly, like the whole 6 points thing is more from a kind of spectator side, I think.
Yeah.
Like, from our perspective, this race is worth 6 points to them, because right now they're in like close competition with each other. obviously means a lot more towards the end of the season, where kind of know how much those points will factor in and who needs what kind of results to stay afloat. But But on the other hand, that's like one of those things that I think people fall into really easily, is going, the earlier matches don't matter as much because you don't know who your top competition are, and you don't know what sort of like results you're aiming for yet, and you don't know how everyone else is going to perform. And then as it gets to the end of the season, it's like, oh, now you can see how many points you need. There's more pressure on. It means more. It's like, a win is 3 points. Doesn't matter if it's your first or last game. A win is 3 points.
Yeah.
And Light playing Serenade, Chimp going back into Spirit. We have coming down to the wire for these three. 3 points here. Like, this is definitely coming right down to it. To the point that this could come down to Ganon execution. Honestly.
It could, yeah. Like, if you get hit by the Knuckles, not even die to him. That kind of close.
Like, I think Light has the advantage here just because of how slow Twin River is. But
Are there ties in League?
there are, yeah, within 3 seconds.
I could see it. I could
Yeah?
see it happening.
We've not had one yet this season. We had 3 in the first season.
3?
3.
That's a lot.
Yeah, divisions like 2, 5, and 8 as well, 2, 6, and 8 as well. So they were like really spread apart. It was just cool. I know it was the Division 2 one was like Hamster and Exodus, I want to say, something like that. 2, 3. That might have been Division 3. But yeah. Division 6 was like... I think Division 6 is actually included Light. I think Light was one of the people who drew in Division 6.
Oh.
And then... but it was enough to promote. Light promoted to Division 5, which is where we are here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, Division 8 was the first one, which was Coraline and Luna Sutra.
Oh, Jim bonking. It's gonna set him back.
Light starting with Compass, though, as well. Like, this is... Shouldn't
Yeah,
swim underwater like this. Is slow. Obviously, if you find an early boss key, that Compass first is going to save you time, but with it being as late as it is, like, that's just a time loss.
Mm-hmm.
Always a nervy moment.
Well, at least he got the song. Imagine if you didn't get the song and accidentally pressed that.
Oh.
Been there. I don't think we saw the floors in this room from Light, so I think he's saving time on Light here.
But Light put the FW before Morpher that Chimp didn't use, I think, so... There's a lot of little back and forth here. There's like lots of tiny little time saves here and there that they can each utilize over the other, and it's just gonna... They'll both look back. This is the kind of race where they'll both look back and be like, if I'd done this differently, this might have happened, or this could have changed the result. And in practice, you could pick any one of like 20 different things that would have changed it.
Yeah, Chimp did chickens here and Light didn't, so I think if you want to point to anything, point to that.
Yes. And Chimp chose to go Child and do Valley Lake instead of going to CAC and getting that hook shot a little earlier. There's so many things that...
Well, especially when it's an all dungeon seed, of course, everything can be
Right,
suspect.
yeah,
so.
yeah. When it comes down to kind of this closer difference, it's...
I think Light's ahead now. Just because Chimp has to do Twin Rova.
I think Light... Yeah, I think Light was probably ahead just because of Twin Rover as it was, but... At the same time, Dark Link also is not especially fast.
The Grunt Sword. It's a lot of health.
13 hearts, yeah.
See how he approaches it. Oh, Chimp is... Okay. Going up here without BK.
Big gaming right now. This is, definitely a little ambitious. Let Perros melt the face, then jump down to do... Sunblock?
He still feels behind here, being a Chimp. You gotta skip out on ice. I can see it, but...
I definitely think they'll both feel like they're behind here. They will... I think it's very easy for people to feel like they're behind in a race, in a 1v1. Light will probably feel bad having done ice, whereas Chimp will probably feel bad having basically last location to hookshot that.
It wasn't just ice, it was ice over GTG, which had your go mode, like...
Right, yeah.
For no real reason other than you might have needed Song of Time for water, but it's pretty unlikely. Oh, yeah, and of course, adult shooting for Chimp was just right there. It just takes like maybe a minute of walking to go there. And it was your last thing to do before going child. Like
Light dropping?
Oh.
That's...
That is unfortunate. That might put Chimp back in it.
So Chimp has to go over to the left hand of Mirror Shield Chat.
Yeah. Which he'll go fairly soon. I don't think he's going to do Child Climb.
Oh. Oh, Light, after getting knocked down, just put on the hovers. So Light's just going straight to Dark Link here.
I mean, he did save, so he could just reset if it ends up being dead, too.
Yeah?
He's got 3 checks here, including Dragon, so it makes sense. Versus 2 kind of slow checks.
Alright, advantage Light. But...
Oh, what is this? I don't think I've seen anyone go down there before.
I definitely think a couple people do it. Not entirely sure how good it is, but I've definitely seen enough people do it that I'm like, am I missing something? Really?
I'm hitting the switch here too. Can't get the hook.
Opting for the long shot strats over the hover strat. This is... Do we think Twin Rover is slower than Dark Link and Morpher combined?
Definitely.
Probably, yeah. But that is the difference we're talking about right now. That is how close we're talking.
Well, I guess Light will also have the after Morpha cutscene, but even with that, it's still shorter.
Yeah.
Like, quite a bit. Winrova's fucking long.
I guess you could get a very lucky Twin Rover fight where
Yeah, like if
get
it
a
goes
couple doubles or
ideally,
whatever, but
and like Light gets like a 4-cycle Morpha or something, like then it'll be like head to head. going into Ganon's.
Oh, ran out of nuts.
Oh. He doesn't
He's
know
swinging.
non-nut scratch. Okay, okay, looks like he does know it. Okay, okay, and he's
Adds
going
Darkling
towards the
down.
door. Yep. It's
So
good stuff.
Darkling and the Iron Knuckle line up. And I gotta tell you, I don't think Morpher and Twin Rover has...
No, not equal in length.
Not quite. Nope, they both fly
That's
to
some
opposite sides.
pretty
That's a terrible
insane-
position. That is a
Yeah.
really bad starting position.
I hate when they just like pause and then they just keep moving anyway. It's like, well, why did you pause? Oh, and it's
Oh,
like
that
getting the
one
door frame.
has gone to a
Let's
platform.
go. Yeah. Yes, morph it down.
Yeah, this is Light's race to lose right now, but it's close enough that I would not say it's guaranteed by any stretch.
It's definitely gonna come down to Ganon's execution. Ooh.
Just out of range on that. Now she's above the platform and Take's above the top. He has 3 hits.
Yeah, that should be 3. Need one more.
Good old Twin Rover.
Well, it's not too bad.
Good position, but you still got the entire second phase to go during this cutscene, which... No.
When you're in Goma and that's the last thing you have left, it definitely feels longer than Twin Rover.
Oh, Chimp waiting out the movement as well. Does not help. So Twin Rover
Okay.
down. Ganon's Rainbow Bridge spawned for Light. And take a bit more than a couple of execution errors here, I think. It would take something pretty big to swing this, but...
Ganondorf death.
knocked down by Ganondorf, maybe. Might be enough.
I don't know. I don't think that's possible with this amount of health, but.
Or just knocked off the tower.
Yeah.
Don't expect to see it, but hey, if we do, it'll make things close.
Yeah. Got the Dino Post down.
No Deku Nuts for these, but definitely not essential when you got BGS.
Losing a lot of time on Stalfos here.
Yeah, they are not playing nice.
It's not in a really good position right now. If you just angled the camera back, it'd be a little bit easier to tell where they're going.
That
Okay, puts them down.
clean on
But
that one, yeah.
It's like close to a 30-second loss. Chimp's entering right now.
Still a couple of fights, like basically the entire tower climb apart, which is a pretty big difference. That's like fairly significant at this point.
Getting the Dynaflows down.
Alright. Light walking into the Ganondorf fight. The light arrows from Shadow.
Very clean
Right.
stop this from Chimp. Now the biggest question, do you think Collapse is going to be on?
Jesus Christ. I think it's about as likely as the Master Quest dungeons were.
Dang. Uh
5, okay.
okay.
Nearly missed one of those stabs, but got the rhythm by the end.
He doesn't equip the Master Sword. So
think he
it's
already
definitely
had
nothing.
that there,
I don't
yeah.
think he does, does he? Oh, he did. Okay. Yeah, they've definitely taken at least one hit before, so I don't think that's true.
I was gonna say they did in fact do the boss key chest in Spirit. My favourite one in one hit KO where everyone just forgets, walks in, runs into the fire, dies.
Yeah.
So one Ganon fight starting and one Ganondorf fight ending. Not a lot in it still.
Would you classify this as a snipe?
Ooh. Probably not. A snipe to me, they have to be in the final cutscene where Zelda's like lasering Ganon in the face. That's a snipe for me.
I just come from a different world where all my seeds are 8 hours and like 5 minutes to like 30 minutes is like a snipe. Like, because of how long the seed is. So that's the only reason I ask. I also wouldn't call this one a snipe. But Lightsword is victorious here.
And there we are, Light coming in first, 3:21:38. Very impressive.
Definitely not bad for a 100% full clear. Well, except Bomb of the Wall, I suppose. But yeah, they were never going to do that anyway.
Yeah, really big, kind of almost disaster seed in a lot of ways, but I don't know, like there were a lot of small decision points. I think it was a fairly like the bigger picture was very linear, but the little gaps joining all of those bigger pieces together were a little tougher to sequence. And yeah, no, very well played. I think Light, especially in the early game, had a really, really strong start to this, and Chimp nearly pulled it back from that. Chimp had a lot of rough luck with the hook shot, but yeah, not quite enough. Chimp finishing with 3:22:51, so 1 minute and 13 seconds apart.
That's very close. Especially with how far apart they were at the beginning. Yeah, the hook was not well placed, at least for Chimp's side.
So, what I'll probably do is there is a French restream for this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was gonna say they generally do the interviews in English if there is an English runner. I was gonna see if they were gonna do that, but Chimp has declined the interview there anyways, so
Yep.
I
So,
won't bother raiding over to them, but otherwise I would do that.
yeah, it's pretty understandable. A lot of things could have gone better there. That would have secured the win, but unfortunately, just couldn't get there today. Yeah, really rather a
Alright.
nasty seed though overall.
Yeah, like
For a lot of different reasons.
like I can understand Chimp being a little mad at this, probably more because of OBS issues than anything else.
Oh
Thank you,
yeah,
Sunsong.
Ew! No, get that out of here. The real reason he lost is because of the file name.
Ah, yeah. Alright. In that case, I will send the raid over. We'll wrap things up here. Any last thoughts on this one?
No, it was fun to commentate this one. Definitely a cool seed. Good part on the runners. How they approach the seed. A lot of stuff made sense, even when the seed didn't. So, GG's to both of them, and thanks for letting me commentate with you.
Yeah, no, this was a ton of fun. I had a ton of fun with this, and yeah, hopefully we'll get some more going soon. There might be another one this week? Question mark? Not 100% certain yet, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. All right. I am going to send everyone over to Mr. Melrose, who is doing S5 but with Master Quest Dungeons race. Hey, you got your MQ dungeons you wanted from earlier.
Let's go.
So yeah, I will send everyone over to Mel's channel. Chimp coming in with a raid just as we're about to send everyone over to Mel. We'll pass it on.
Super raid.
GG's Chimp. Like that seems like an interesting seed, but also a tough one from your perspective. But yeah. We will send everyone over to Mel, who's doing MQ S5. So go wish him the best of luck. Thank you all for hanging out, and I'll try to keep you all posted on upcoming League restreams if there are any this week. So catch you all soon.